I was taken to the hospital for an emergency surgery. The doctors called my wife, but my brother picked up and said, "She's busy with her hands." My wife giggled, and my mouth. They both laughed, even after they told her that it could be my last night. 2 weeks later, I was discharged from the hospital and called my someone. 2 hours later, I want to tell you about the night I died. Not literally, though the doctors weren't sure about that part for a while. But the person I was, the man who woke up that Tuesday morning, believing in the fundamental decency of the people closest to him. That man flatlined somewhere between the ambulance ride and the recovery room. What came back was someone else entirely. It started with pain, not the emotional kind that would come later, delivered with surgical precision by the two people I trusted most in this world. No, this was physical. A sharp, twisting agony in my lower right abdomen that had been building for days, ignored because I had a presentation due, because Sarah needed help with her mother's estate paperwork, because my brother Marcus had asked me to review his business proposal, because life doesn't stop for discomfort. Life should stop for appendicitis, though, especially the kind that's about to rupture. I was in the home office, the one Sarah had helped me paint last spring in a color she called thoughtful gray, and I called expensive beige. My laptop screen blurred as another wave of pain crested, and I remember thinking, with the kind of crystal clarity that comes right before everything goes sideways, that something was deeply wrong. The pain wasn't just pain anymore. It was a presence, an entity, something that had moved into my body and was rearranging the furniture. "Sarah?" My voice came out thin, reedy, not like my voice at all. No answer. She was probably in the garden. She'd taken up gardening 6 months ago, said it helped her think, helped her process. I'd found it endearing, the way she'd come in with dirt under her fingernails, smelling like earth and sunlight. I'd bought her expensive tools for her birthday, the kind with wooden handles that would age beautifully with use. She'd kissed me, called me thoughtful, said she didn't deserve me. That last part, at least, turned out to be true. I tried to stand, and the world tilted, the expensive beige walls swam, and I was on my knees before I realized I was falling. The pain was a living thing now, teeth and claws, and I couldn't breathe around it, couldn't think, couldn't do anything but press my forehead against the cool hardwood floor and try to remember how lungs worked. My phone. Where was my phone? There. On the desk, 3 feet away, might as well have been 3 miles. I crawled, actually crawled like an animal, like something broken, and even through the agony, there was a small voice in the back of my mind, cataloging the indignity of it. 34 years old, CrossFit 3 times a week, and here I was, dragging myself across my own office floor because my appendix had decided to stage a coup. I don't remember calling 911. I remembered the dispatcher's voice, calm and professional, asking me questions I couldn't focus on. I remember giving them the address, our address, the home Sarah and I had bought 3 years ago when we were still talking about the future in terms of children's rooms and holiday traditions. I remembered the dispatcher telling me to stay on the line, telling me help was coming, telling me to unlock the front door if I could. I couldn't. The door might as well have been on Mars. The paramedics found me curled on my side next to the desk, phone still pressed to my ear, the dispatcher's voice a distant echo. They were efficient, professional, gentle even as they moved me, and I screamed. One of them, a woman with kind eyes and gray hair, pulled back tight, kept talking to me as they worked. Told me her name was Patricia. Told me I was going to be fine. Told me they were taking me to St. Catherine's, that they were calling my emergency contact. My wife, I managed. Sarah. Her number in my phone. "We've got it," Patricia said, "and we're calling her now." I held on to that. Sarah would meet me there. Sarah would be there when I woke up, if I woke up. Sarah, who'd promised to love me in sickness and in health, who'd held my hand through my father's funeral and my mother's diagnosis, who'd been my partner, my person, my home. The ambulance ride was a blur of pain and sirens and Patricia's steady voice. The emergency room was a blur of bright lights and urgent voices and hands moving over me with practiced efficiency. Someone said, peritonitis. Someone else said, or now. A doctor with tired eyes leaned over me and said something about emergency surgery, about complications, about needing to move fast. I signed something. I don't remember what. My hand shook so badly the signature looked like it belonged to someone else. Did you reach my wife? I asked. Asked again. Kept asking until someone said yes, we called her. She's on her way. They wheeled me toward surgery, and I remember the ceiling tiles passing overhead, white and featureless as clouds. And I remember thinking about Sarah, about how we'd met at a coffee shop 7 years ago, how I'd spilled my cappuccino reaching for the same newspaper she was reaching for, how she'd laughed instead of getting angry, how her laugh had sounded like wind chimes, light and musical and right, how I'd asked her out right there, coffee dripping down my shirt, and she'd said yes. How 2 years later I'd proposed in that same coffee shop, at that same table, and she'd cried and said yes again. How 3 years ago we'd stood in front of everyone we loved and promised forever. I remember thinking, she'll be there when I wake up. Whatever happens, however this goes, she'll be there. That was the last thought I had before the anesthesia took me. What I didn't know, what I couldn't know, wouldn't know for 2 more weeks, was that they did call Sarah. They called the number I'd given them, the one I'd memorized, the one I'd dialed 1,000 times to hear her voice. They called to tell her that her husband was in emergency surgery, that things were serious, that she should come now, and someone did answer, just not Sarah. My brother Marcus picked up her phone, my younger brother, the one I'd helped through college when our parents couldn't afford it. The one I'd co-signed a car loan for, let stay with us rent-free for 6 months while he figured things out. Introduced to every professional contact I had when he was job hunting. Marcus, who'd been my best man, who'd given a toast at our wedding about how I'd always been there for him, how he hoped Sarah knew how lucky she was. Marcus, who answered Sarah's phone at 10:30 on a Tuesday night and said, casual as commenting on the weather, she's busy with her hands. And in the background, I wouldn't hear this until later, until evidence was compiled and truth was laid bare. In the background, my wife's voice. And my mouth. They laughed. Both of them. Laughed like it was the funniest thing in the world, like it was a joke between lovers. Like I wasn't bleeding internally in an operating room 20 minutes away. The hospital tried again, called the number again, because the first response didn't make sense, because surely there was a misunderstanding. Called and reached the voicemail this time. Sarah's voice, cheerful and bright, asking callers to leave a message. The nurse left one. Professional, concerned, urgent. Said that Mr. James Mitchell was in surgery at St. Catherine's Hospital, that complications had developed, that Mrs. Mitchell should come as soon as possible, that it might be his last night. The nurse didn't know she was leaving this message for a woman who was 3 miles away in a hotel room my credit card had paid for, a hotel room she'd been meeting my brother in twice a week for 7 months. Didn't know that this message would be listened to later, much later, after the act was finished and the postcoital glow had faded, and some semblance of human decency had crept back in. 7 months. While I'd been working overtime to save for the house renovation Sarah wanted. While I'd been planning our 5th anniversary trip to Italy. While I'd been calling Marcus every Sunday to check in, to make sure he was okay after his breakup, to be the big brother he could count on. 7 months of Tuesday and Thursday afternoons, carefully scheduled around my work meetings. 7 months of lies packaged as yoga classes and book clubs and errands that took hours. 7 months of my wife and my brother, in rooms I'd paid for, laughing at jokes I wasn't part of, building a world that specifically excluded me. But I didn't know any of that yet. What I knew was surgery. What I knew was waking up in recovery with a throat raw from intubation and an abdomen that felt like it had been split open and rearranged, which technically it had. What I knew was a nurse checking my vitals, her face coming into focus slowly like a photograph developing. "Welcome back, Mr. Mitchell," she said. "You gave us quite a scare." "Sarah?" My voice was a croak. "Is my wife here?" Something flickered across her face. Something I was too drugged, too tired, too recently not dead to interpret. "Let me check for you," she said and left. She was gone for 5 minutes. When she came back, she had that expression healthcare workers learn, the one that's professionally sympathetic without being emotionally invested. "Your emergency contact hasn't arrived yet. Would you like us to try calling again?" "Please," I said, and closed my eyes. They tried. 3 more times over the next hour. Twice they reached voicemail. Once Marcus answered again. I'd learn this later. From phone records, from the digital breadcrumbs people leave without thinking, and said she'd get the message, that she'd be there soon, that she was just caught up with something. Dawn was breaking when Sarah finally arrived. I was in and out of consciousness, pain medication and exhaustion pulling me under in waves. But I remember her coming into the room, remember the sound of her heels on the linoleum, the heels I'd bought her for Christmas, the ones she said were too expensive, too much, but that she loved. Remember her perfume, the one that cost more than I wanted to spend, but that made her happy. Remember her hand on my forehead, cool and soft. "Hey, baby," she whispered. "I'm here now." I tried to smile. My face felt like it belonged to someone else. "Where were you?" I managed. "My phone died," she said, smooth as silk, practiced as prayer. "I was at Jennifer's. You know how we lose track of time when we're talking. I didn't get the messages until I got home and plugged in. I came as soon as I saw." It made sense. Jennifer was her best friend, her college roommate, someone she saw regularly. My phone died all the time. These things happened. These things happened. "Marcus," I said. "Someone should call Marcus. He'd want to know." Her hand stilled on my forehead. Just for a second. Just long enough for me to notice, even through the pharmaceutical fog. "I'll call him later," she said. "You need to rest now." I did rest. I rested for 2 weeks, while my body remembered how to be a body, while the surgical site healed, and the infection they'd been worried about didn't materialize, and my blood counts slowly normalized. Sarah visited every day, brought me books I couldn't focus on, magazines I couldn't read, smoothies from the expensive place downtown that used organic fruit and superfoods and cost $12 each. She was perfect, attentive, loving, everything a wife should be when her husband nearly dies. Marcus visited too, brought me sports magazines, and looked uncomfortable the whole time, the way men do in hospitals, like illness might be contagious. He seemed distracted, kept checking his phone, didn't stay long. "Work stuff," he'd say when he noticed me noticing. "You know how it is." I did know. I'd covered for him at work before, made excuses, smoothed things over with bosses who were losing patience. Marcus had always been like that, brilliant when he was focused, scattered when he wasn't. I'd always figured that's what big brothers were for, covering, supporting, being there. The irony would hit me later, hit me like a physical blow, that while I was being the big brother, being there, he was being there too, just in a different way, in a hotel room, with my wife. But that was later. For now, there was just recovery, just physical therapy and follow-up appointments and slowly rebuilding strength. Just Sarah's hand in mine as we drove home, her voice chatting about normal things. The garden needed weeding. Her mother was coming to visit next month. Maybe we should finally book that Italy trip we'd been talking about. Just life, continuing on the way it does. The way it does until it doesn't. 2 weeks after I was discharged, on a Thursday afternoon, always a Thursday I'd learn, that was their day, I called someone I'd been thinking about calling for a while, ever since a conversation with Patricia, the paramedic, when she'd stopped by to check on me during one of her shifts at St. Catherine's. 2 hours after that phone call, my entire world would reorganize itself. 2 hours after that phone call, I would understand that the man who'd gone into surgery believing in the decency of family was never coming back. 2 hours after that phone call, the real story would begin. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me tell you about the phone call first. Let me tell you about the moment everything changed. The thing about truth is that it doesn't arrive all at once, wrapped in a neat package with a bow on top. It comes in pieces, fragments, little shards of wrongness that cut you in ways you don't notice until you're already bleeding. My first shard came from Patricia. She stopped by my room 3 days after surgery during one of her shifts. Said she made a habit of checking on patients she'd brought in, especially the ones who'd been as touch and go as I'd been. We talked for a while, about recovery, about the surgery, about how lucky I'd been that I called when I did. Another hour, the surgeon had said, and we'd be having a different conversation. "Your wife must have been so relieved," Patricia said, adjusting the monitors that still tracked my vitals like a jealous lover. "She was," I said. "She got here as soon as she could." Something flickered across Patricia's face, the same expression the recovery nurse had worn, the one I still couldn't quite read. "I'm glad," she said carefully. "When we called her, we weren't sure. Well, it's good she made it." "Her phone died," I explained, feeling oddly defensive. "She was at a friend's house. She came straight from there as soon as she got the messages." Patricia nodded slowly, too slowly, the way people do when they're choosing their next words with surgical precision. "Mr. Mitchell," she said finally, this isn't really my place, but when we called your emergency contact number, someone did answer. A man. He said," she paused, and I could see her weighing whether to continue. "He said she was busy. We explained it was an emergency, that you were in surgery, and he laughed." The machines I was hooked to continued their steady beeping. The fluorescent lights hummed. Outside my room, a cart rattled past, and someone called for Dr. Patel over the intercom. "What?" I said. "I'm sure it was a misunderstanding," Patricia said quickly. "Maybe we had the wrong number, or maybe—" "What did he say exactly?" She looked uncomfortable now, like she regretted opening this door. But doors, once opened, are hard to close. "He said she was busy with her hands." Patricia's voice was gentle, like she was explaining something to a child. And then we heard a woman's voice in the background, and she said something about her mouth, and they both laughed. We thought maybe it was a prank, or we'd misdialed, so we called back and left a voicemail. The beeping of the machines seemed very loud suddenly. "That doesn't make sense," I said. "Sarah's phone died. She was at Jennifer's." Patricia nodded, still wearing that carefully neutral expression. "Like I said, probably a misunderstanding. Maybe someone found her phone, or, I don't know. I thought you should know what we heard, in case there was some kind of identity theft situation or something." She left shortly after that, and I lay there staring at the ceiling tiles, trying to make the pieces fit, trying to build a reality where what Patricia described made sense with what Sarah had told me. Sarah's phone died. She was at Jennifer's. She came as soon as she got the messages. Someone answered her phone. A man said she was busy with her hands. These two things couldn't both be true, could they? I called Sarah from my hospital bed, and she answered on the second ring, voice bright and warm. "Hey, baby. How are you feeling? Do you need me to bring anything?" "I'm fine," I said. "Hey, random question. Did you lose your phone recently, or has anyone borrowed it?" A pause, barely perceptible, the kind of pause you'd miss if you weren't listening for it. "No. Why?" "Just something weird the paramedics mentioned. They said when they called you, a man answered. I thought maybe someone found your phone or something." Another pause, longer this time. "That's so weird," she said finally. "Maybe they misdialed. I mean, my phone was dead. Maybe they called someone else by mistake and just thought it was my number." It made sense. It did. Human error, crossed wires, the chaos of an emergency situation. It made sense. So why did my chest feel tight in a way that had nothing to do with the surgical incisions? "Yeah," I said. "Probably." "I'll be there in an hour," she said. "I'm bringing that soup you like from Francesca's, the one with the weird Italian name you can never remember." "Stracciatella," I said automatically. "That's the one. See you soon. Love you." "Love you too." I hung up and stared at my phone for a long time. Then I did something I'd never done before, something that felt like betrayal even as I was doing it. I opened the browser and logged into our cell phone account, the family plan I'd set up 3 years ago, the one that linked both our phones, the one I paid for and never thought about because why would I? Call logs. Every call made or received, time-stamped and numbered. I found the night of my surgery, found the timestamp when the hospital called. There it was, incoming call from St. Catherine's Hospital, 10:47 p.m., duration 1 minute, 23 seconds. To Sarah's number, someone had answered. Patricia wasn't lying, wasn't mistaken. Someone had picked up Sarah's phone at 10:47 p.m. and talked to the hospital for 1 minute and 23 seconds. But Sarah said her phone was dead. I scrolled through the call log, looking for, I don't know what. Evidence, answers, something to make this make sense. And that's when I saw them. The patterns I'd never thought to look for because I'd never had a reason to look. Calls to a number I didn't recognize. Dozens of them, going back months. Short calls mostly, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 2 minutes. The kind of calls you make when you're coordinating, when you're saying, "I'm here," or "running late," or "meet me at the usual place." The calls clustered on Tuesdays and Thursdays, yoga days, book club days. I called the number. It rang 4 times, and then, "Hey, this is Marcus. Leave a message." My brother's voice, cheerful, casual, the same voicemail greeting he'd had for years. I hung up without leaving a message. The room was very quiet. The machines beeped. My heart rate monitor showed an uptick, and a nurse poked her head in, asking if I was okay. "Fine," I said. "Just thought I saw a spider." She looked around, didn't see anything, told me to press the call button if I needed anything. I sat there for an hour after she left, phone in my hand, staring at the call logs, counting the calls, mapping the pattern. Tuesdays and Thursdays, like clockwork. Yoga and book club. There had to be an explanation. Marcus and Sarah talked sometimes. He was my brother, she was my wife. Of course, they'd have each other's numbers. Maybe she was planning a surprise party. Maybe they were coordinating about a gift. Maybe I was an idiot. But I wasn't ready to believe that yet. Wasn't ready to look at the shape forming in the negative space of all these facts and call it by its name. So I did what people do when they're not ready to face something. I waited. I healed. I went home. I watched Sarah bring me soup and fluff my pillows and rearrange my medications with loving efficiency. I watched Marcus visit and make awkward small talk and check his phone. I watched them not look at each other. That was the thing I couldn't stop noticing once I started looking. The way they were carefully, deliberately not looking at each other. The way Marcus always left within 10 minutes if Sarah was there. The way Sarah suddenly had errands to run whenever I mentioned Marcus might stop by. People who have nothing to hide don't work that hard at avoiding eye contact. 2 weeks after I was discharged, on a Thursday afternoon, I made my decision. I was supposed to be resting. Doctor's orders, no work, no stress, no heavy lifting. Sarah had gone to her book club, or what she told me was book club. I'd smiled, kissed her goodbye, told her to have fun discussing whatever literary masterpiece they'd picked this month. She'd left at 2 p.m., wearing the dress I'd bought her for her birthday. The blue one that matched her eyes, the one that cost too much, but that I couldn't resist because she'd looked at it in the store window with such longing. I waited 15 minutes. Then I called the one person who might be able to tell me if I was crazy, or if the world really had shifted under my feet while I was unconscious on an operating table. Detective Sarah Chen. I'd met her 3 years ago when our house was broken into, a random thing, teenagers looking for quick cash. But she'd been professional and thorough and had found our stuff. We'd stayed in touch, the way you do sometimes, with people who help you during a crisis. Exchanged Christmas cards, LinkedIn connections. She answered on the third ring. "James Mitchell," she said, warmth in her voice. "How are you? I heard through the grapevine you had some health issues." Small town problems. Everyone knows everyone's business. "I'm okay," I said, recovering. "Listen, Sarah, Detective Chen, I need to ask you something. And it's going to sound insane." "I specialize in insane," she said. "Shoot." So I told her. Told her about the phone call, about the call logs, about the patterns, and the avoidance and the feeling in my gut that something was catastrophically wrong. Told her I knew how it sounded, knew I was probably being paranoid, knew that surgery and pain medication could do weird things to your head. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, there was a long silence. "James," she said finally, "I'm going to tell you something, and you're not going to like it. In my experience, when someone's gut is screaming at them that something's wrong, they're usually right. The hard part is deciding what to do about it." "What would you do?" Another pause. I could hear papers rustling, a door closing, the sounds of her moving somewhere private. "Officially, I can't help you. This isn't a police matter, it's personal, but unofficially person to person. If I were you, I'd want to know for sure, one way or another. Even if the truth hurt, I'd want to know." "How? Do you have access to your wife's computer, her email? Anything with a digital footprint? We have a shared laptop, family computer, and I know her passwords. We've always been open about that stuff." I could hear her weighing her next words. "I'm not telling you to invade your wife's privacy," she said carefully. "But if you need peace of mind, and you have legitimate access to shared devices, well, that's between you and your conscience. Some people hire private investigators for this kind of thing. Some people just look for themselves. And if I find something, then you'll know. And knowing, even when it hurts, is better than living in uncertainty. Trust me on that." We talked for a few more minutes. She gave me the name of a good PI, if I wanted to go that route. Told me to take care of myself, to call if I needed anything, to remember that whatever I found or didn't find, I'd survive it. I thanked her and hung up. The house was very quiet. Sarah wouldn't be home for hours. Book club always ran long, she said. Lots to discuss. I stood in the center of our living room, the room we'd furnished together, the room where we'd hosted Christmas parties and game nights and Sunday brunches with friends, and I felt like a stranger in my own life. The laptop was in the study, the shared one, the one we both used for bills and email and keeping track of the household. I sat down in front of it, and my hands were shaking. This was it. This was the moment. Open the laptop and look, or don't open it and live with the uncertainty. Schrodinger's marriage, both faithful and unfaithful until I observed it. I opened the laptop. Her email was still logged in. She never logged out of the family computer. Neither of us did. I stared at her inbox, at the mundane accumulation of a life. Newsletters from bookstores, confirmations for yoga classes, emails from her mother, spam about refinancing offers and miracle diets. Nothing suspicious, nothing incriminating. I almost closed it, almost decided I was being ridiculous, paranoid, the kind of husband who deserved whatever trust issues came from snooping. Then I saw the folder, not in the inbox, in the sidebar, a folder labeled Travel that I'd never noticed before. I clicked on it. The folder contained 43 emails, all from the same hotel chain. all confirmations for room bookings, all for Tuesdays and Thursdays, going back 7 months. Room 314, always the same room. Check-in 2 p.m., check-out 5 p.m. Charged to my credit card. The Riverside Inn, 15 minutes from our house. I clicked on the most recent one. Last Thursday, the Thursday before my surgery. Booked under Sarah's name. Charged to the joint credit card I never scrutinized because I trusted her. Because scrutinizing your wife's purchases is what insecure men do. I pulled up the credit card statement. There it was, every Tuesday and Thursday for 7 months. $127.50 every time. The same charge, the same hotel, the same pattern. Yoga and book club. I sat there staring at the screen and something inside me went very still, very cold, like ice forming on a pond, spreading out from a single point of freezing. My phone buzzed. A text from Marcus. Hey man, how you feeling? Want to grab dinner this weekend? I looked at the text, looked at the hotel confirmations, looked at the call logs I'd memorized, the Tuesdays and Thursdays mapped out like a calendar of betrayal. And I made a decision. I wasn't going to confront them. Not yet. Not until I knew everything. Not until I had evidence that couldn't be explained away or dismissed or turned around on me as paranoia or sickness-induced delusion. If this was real, if my wife and my brother had been doing this for 7 months, if they'd laughed when I was dying, if they'd built a whole separate world while I was busy being loyal and loving and trustworthy, then I needed to be smart about this. I needed to be methodical. I needed evidence. I texted Marcus back. Feeling better every day. Dinner sounds great. How about Saturday? Then I did something I'd never done before. Something that felt like crossing a line I couldn't uncross. I forwarded all 43 hotel confirmation emails to my personal account. The one Sarah didn't have access to. The one I used for work, kept separate, never thought about because our lives were supposed to be shared, transparent, honest. I took screenshots of the credit card charges, of the call logs, of everything that painted a picture I didn't want to see but couldn't look away from. And then I called the Riverside Inn. The receptionist answered with practiced cheer. Riverside Inn, where comfort meets convenience. How can I help you today? Hi, I said, my voice surprisingly steady. This is James Mitchell. My wife Sarah booked a room with you recently, room 314. I think she may have left her bracelet there. I wanted to check if anyone turned it in. Oh, let me check our lost and found. I heard typing, the click of a mouse. Room 314. Would that have been last Thursday? Yes. I don't see anything logged for that room, but let me transfer you to housekeeping. Rosa would have been on duty that day. She might remember. That's okay, I said quickly. Actually, you know what? I have a question. My wife's been booking that room pretty regularly, and I wanted to surprise her by reserving it for our anniversary. Is room 314 usually available on Thursdays? Oh, what a sweet surprise. The receptionist's voice warmed. You know, your wife has that room on a regular booking every Tuesday and Thursday from 2 to 5. Would you want to add to that schedule? Or were you thinking something different? No, that's perfect, I said. I'll call back to finalize. Thank you. I hung up before she could say anything else. A regular booking, every Tuesday and Thursday from 2 to 5, for 7 months. I pulled up my calendar, started counting back. Tuesdays and Thursdays. All the times Sarah had left for yoga, for book club, for errands. That took hours. All the times I'd been working, trusting, believing in the fundamental honesty of my wife. All the times Marcus had been busy with work stuff, or running errands, or just hanging out. The timeline was perfect, damning, complete. And still, some part of me wanted to find another explanation. Wanted there to be a reason that made sense, that didn't mean the last 7 months of my life had been a carefully constructed lie. But I was done lying to myself. I spent the next 2 hours going through Sarah's digital life with the methodical attention of an archaeologist excavating a disaster. Her texts, Nothing there. She was too smart for that. Her photos, hundreds of selfies, pictures of the garden, pictures of us, nothing suspicious. Then I found her secondary email, the one she thought was private, the one linked to an app I'd never heard of. And there it was. Everything. There's a particular kind of pain that comes from reading words that weren't meant for your eyes. It's not like physical pain, which demands immediate attention, screaming until you address it. This pain is quieter, colder. It settles into your bones like radiation, invisible but corrosive, changing you at a cellular level. The secondary email was hidden in plain sight. One of those accounts you set up once and forget about, except Sarah hadn't forgotten about it. She'd been using it regularly, carefully, exclusively for one thing: communication with my brother. The app was called Secure Chat. Ironic name, considering how unsecure it turned out to be once I had the password, the same password Sarah used for everything, our wedding date reversed. She'd always been sentimental that way. Even her betrayal had sentiment baked into it. I clicked on the conversation thread labeled M and started reading. I should stop here and tell you that I don't recommend this. Don't recommend reading the intimate communications between your spouse and the person they're cheating with. Don't recommend seeing yourself discussed like a problem to be managed, an obstacle to be navigated, a fool too trusting to notice what's happening right in front of him. But if you're going to do it, if you're going to excavate your own destruction, then do it systematically. Do it with a notepad. Take screenshots. Build your case like you're preparing for trial. Because in a way, you are. The first message was from 7 months ago, February 14th, Valentine's Day. I'd taken Sarah to Marcello's, the expensive Italian place downtown, the one with the wine list that required a sommelier to navigate. We'd had a perfect evening, or so I'd thought. Sarah, 11:47 p.m. Can't stop thinking about this afternoon. M, 11:52 p.m. Me either, this is crazy. Sarah, 11:53 p.m. The craziest thing I've ever done. M, 11:55 p.m. We can't do this again. Sarah, 11:56 p.m. I know. M, 11:58 p.m. Tuesday. Sarah, 11:59 p.m. Tuesday. I sat there staring at those messages, trying to place them in context. February 14th, Valentine's Day. While I was at work that afternoon, Sarah was, starting this? I scrolled up looking for earlier messages, but there was nothing. This was the beginning, the inception point, the moment my marriage became something else entirely. I kept reading, kept scrolling through months of messages that painted a picture I was both piecing together and recoiling from. M, Feb 20. Can't believe we're doing this. Sarah, Feb 20. Neither can I. Feel guilty? M, Feb 20. Weirdly, no. Should I? Sarah, Feb 20. Probably. I do, but not enough to stop. M, Feb 20. He'd never suspect. Not from us. Sarah, Feb 20. No, he trusts too much. There it was. Plain text. Digital confirmation that I was the fool in this scenario. The trusting idiot too naive to see what was happening. He trusts too much. Like trust was a character flaw. Like believing in the people you love was something to be exploited rather than honored. I kept reading, hating myself for it but unable to stop. It was like watching a car crash in slow motion, except I was the car and the crash had already happened months ago. I was just now seeing the footage. Sarah, March 15th. He's working late again. Can you meet earlier? M, March 15th. Already at the hotel. Room 314. Sarah, March 15th. Perfect. Our room. Our room. They had a room, a specific room they'd claimed, territorialized, made theirs. In a hotel I'd paid for, week after week, without questioning it because it showed up on the credit card bill as Riverside Inn Conference Services, and Sarah had mentioned once, casually, perfectly, that her book club had started meeting there sometimes because Jennifer's apartment was being renovated. I'd nodded, said that sounded nice, asked how the books were. M. April 3rd. Feel bad lying to him about Thursday. Sarah, April 3rd. We're not lying, just not telling. M. April 3. That's lying. Sarah, April 3. Then we're lying. Does it change anything? M. April 3. No. Sarah, April 3. Didn't think so. See you Thursday. The messages went on like that, hundreds of them, a complete chronicle of an affair conducted with my credit card and my trust. They talked about logistics mostly, times, places, close calls. They talked about me sometimes, always with a mixture of guilt and dismissiveness that made my stomach turn. Sarah, May 22nd. He wants to plan a big anniversary trip, Italy. M, May 26th. Will you go? Sarah, May 22nd. Have to. Would look weird if I didn't. M, May 26th. Weird is us doing this while he plans romantic trips. Sarah, May 22. I know. Don't want to think about it. M, May 22. So don't. Think about Tuesday instead. Sarah, May 22. Already am. I remembered that conversation. Remembered sitting at our kitchen table with Italian guidebooks spread out, pointing out the Amalfi Coast, the Tuscan countryside, Rome at sunset. Remembered Sarah smiling, saying it all looked beautiful, saying she couldn't wait. Remembered feeling happy that I could give her this, that I could plan something special for the woman I loved. The woman who was already planning her Tuesday afternoon with my brother while I pointed at pictures of the Trevi Fountain. But it wasn't all logistics and scheduling. Sometimes they talked about feelings. And those messages were worse, somehow. The practical ones I could almost understand. People compartmentalize, rationalize, build walls between their actions and their consequences. But the feelings, those were harder to read. M, June 10. Do you love him? Sarah, June 10. Of course I do. M, June 10. Then why? Sarah, June 10. I love you too. Different. M, June 10. That doesn't answer the question. Sarah, June 10. He's safe, stable, good. You're... M, June 10. What? Sarah, June 10. Dangerous, exciting, wrong in all the right ways. M, June 10. We're terrible people. Sarah, June 10. Yes. M, June 10. Tuesday. Sarah, June 10. Tuesday. I was safe, stable, good. The boring husband who provided and planned and paid for hotel rooms where his wife and brother could explore what was dangerous and exciting and wrong. I screenshotted everything. Every message, every conversation, every casual admission of guilt that they acknowledged and ignored in the same breath. My phone filled up with evidence, with proof, with the documented destruction of everything I'd thought was real. Then I found the photos. They'd been careful not to share anything explicit through the app. Smart, really, given that I could have checked her regular phone at any time. But there were a few photos. Innocent looking at first glance. A picture of hotel room curtains with afternoon light filtering through. A selfie Sarah had taken in the hotel bathroom mirror. I recognized the blue dress. Remembered her wearing it to book club 3 weeks ago. A photo of 2 wine glasses on a nightstand, both half empty, both bearing lipstick marks. And one photo that Marcus had sent. Just his hand, resting on what I recognized as Sarah's thigh. Her wearing the jeans I'd bought her for Christmas, the expensive designer ones she'd said she loved. His hand casual, possessive, comfortable. The timestamp, Tuesday, July 16th, 3:47 p.m. I'd been in a budget meeting that afternoon, arguing about Q3 projections, while my brother's hand rested on my wife's thigh 15 minutes from my office. I took a screenshot of that one too, added it to the collection. Evidence, proof, the receipts, as people say, though receipts seemed too mundane a word for what I was compiling. But the worst, the absolute worst, came when I found the messages from the night of my surgery. I'd been scrolling chronologically, building a timeline, making notes. Then I hit September 24th. The night I almost died. The night they laughed. Hospital number 10:47 p.m. Incoming call 1 minute 23 seconds. Sarah, 10:51 p.m. Did you answer my phone? M, 10:52 p.m. Yes, it was the hospital. Sarah, 10:52 p.m. What? Is James okay? M, 10:53 p.m. They said emergency surgery. Something about his appendix. Sarah, 10:53 p.m. Oh my God. We need to go. M, 10:54 p.m. We're not exactly dressed. Sarah, 10:55 p.m. So we get dressed, Jesus, Marcus. M, 10:56 p.m. You're right. Sorry, give me 5 minutes. Sarah, 10:57 p.m. What did you tell them when they called? M, 10:59 p.m. Made a joke. Stupid, wasn't thinking. Sarah, 11 o'clock p.m. What kind of joke? M, 11:01 p.m. Better you don't know. Sarah, 11:02 p.m. Marcus, what did you say? M, 11:04 p.m. Said you were busy with your hands. You said the mouth thing. We laughed. There was a gap then. 2 minutes of nothing. I could imagine Sarah's face, the horror settling in, the realization of what they'd done. Sarah, 11:06 p.m. They said it was serious? M, 11:06 p.m. Said it could be his last night. Sarah, 11:07 p.m. And we laughed? M, 11:07 p.m. We didn't know. Thought it was some prank call or wrong number. Sarah, 11:08 p.m. My husband is dying and we're in a hotel room. This is God. We have to stop this. M, 11:09 p.m. You're right. Sarah, 11:10 p.m. After we check on him, after we make sure he's okay, this is done. M, 11:11 p.m. Agreed. Sarah, 11:12 p.m. Get dressed. I'll think of an excuse for why I'm late. M, 11:13 p.m. Sarah, 11:13 p.m. What? M, 11:14 p.m. I'm sorry about the joke, about all of this. Sarah, 11:15 p.m. Me too. I read those messages 3 times, 4 times, looking for, I don't know what, remorse, real guilt, some indication that they understood the magnitude of what they'd done. They did understand. That was clear. They knew it was wrong, knew they should stop, knew that laughing while I was in emergency surgery was beyond the pale. And yet, M, Septi 26. How is he? Sarah, Septi 26. Stable. Doctors say he'll be okay. M, Septi 26. Thank God. Sarah, Septi 26. Yeah. M, Septi 26. We really should stop this. Sarah, Septi 26. I know. M, Septi 27. Are we stopping? Sarah, Septi 27. We should. M, Septi 27. That's not an answer. Sarah, Sept 28. Thursday. M, Sept 28. Thursday. 3 days after I almost died, they were back at it. 3 days of guilt and remorse and promises to stop, and then right back to room 314, to Tuesdays and Thursdays, to the routine they'd built while I was recovering from surgery they'd laughed through. I closed the laptop and sat in the quiet of our study, the same study where I'd collapsed 2 weeks ago, where this whole nightmare had started. Or no, it had started long before that, February 14th, while I was buying roses and making dinner reservations. That's when it started for them. For me, it started the moment I opened that call log. That's when my marriage died, even if I'd been too stubborn or stupid or hopeful to pronounce it dead until now. I looked around the room, at the bookshelf we'd built together one Sunday, arguing cheerfully about shelf height and bracket placement. At the photo of us on our wedding day, both of us laughing, me thinking I was the luckiest man alive. At the desk where Sarah paid bills and planned meals and organized our life, all while maintaining a completely separate life I'd known nothing about. My phone buzzed. Sarah. Book club running late. Be home by 7. Love you. Book club. Right. I checked the time. 4:30 p.m. I checked the credit card account on my phone. New charge. Riverside Inn. 127.50, posted 20 minutes ago. I typed back, "No rush. Take your time." Then I did something I'd been thinking about since my conversation with Detective Chen. Something I'd been avoiding because it felt like an admission that this was really happening. I called a private investigator. The firm Chen had recommended was called Clearview Investigations. On-the-nose name, but reviews were solid. A woman answered, professional and brisk. "Clearview, this is Janet." "Hi, Detective Sarah Chen recommended you. My name is James Mitchell. I think I need your services." Her voice softened slightly. "What's the situation, Mr. Mitchell?" I told her. Not everything. I didn't mention that the other man was my brother. Didn't go into the hospital details, just stuck to the basics. Suspected infidelity. Evidence, but not proof. Need for documentation. "I already have screenshots, messages, credit card charges," I said. "But I need actual proof. Photos, video, something irrefutable." "We can do that," Janet said. "It's not cheap, and I have to be honest with you. Most people who call us already know the answer. They're just looking for validation." "I know the answer," I said. "I need validation, and I need leverage." Leverage for when I decide what to do next. There was a pause, and I could hear her typing. "We have an opening tomorrow, Thursday. If you know the location and approximate time, we can have someone there. Standard surveillance package includes photos, video if applicable, detailed report. You'll have everything documented professionally, admissible in court if it comes to that." "It won't come to that," I said. "This isn't about divorce proceedings. This is about knowing, having proof, being able to show them exactly what they are." "I understand," Janet said, and something in her voice suggested she really did. "Tomorrow, you said the usual time is 2 to 5 p.m.? "Yes, the Riverside Inn, room 314. We'll be there. Our investigator will document everything from arrival to departure. You'll have a full report with photographic evidence by Friday morning." We discussed pricing, expensive but worth it, and logistics. I gave her my work email, the one Sarah didn't monitor, paid the deposit with my personal credit card, the one that wasn't on our joint account. After I hung up, I sat there feeling like I'd crossed another line. From suspicious spouse to actual detective work. From gathering information to actively documenting my wife's betrayal. But I wasn't doing anything they hadn't already done. Wasn't creating a situation that didn't exist. Was just making the invisible visible. Bringing the hidden into light. My phone buzzed again. "Marcus, dinner Saturday still work? Maybe bring Sarah?" I looked at that message for a long time. Imagined the three of us at a restaurant making small talk, pretending we were a normal family. Imagined Marcus and Sarah carefully not looking at each other, not touching, maintaining the performance they'd perfected over 7 months. Imagined them thinking I was too stupid, too trusting, too safe and stable, and good to ever figure it out. I texted back. "Perfect. Giuseppe's at 7? "Marcus. Sounds good. Looking forward to it." I bet he was. I spent the next hour organizing everything I'd found. Created a folder on my personal cloud storage, backed up every screenshot, every piece of evidence. Organized it chronologically. Made notes. Built a timeline that was comprehensive, damning, complete. Then I created a document. Just a simple outline, really, but it felt important to see it written out. Evidence compiled: 43 hotel room confirmations, Riverside Inn, room 314, 7 months of credit card charges, $127.50 each call logs showing regular contact between Sarah and Marcus' secure chat messages, documenting affair from inception to present. Photos including compromising image dated July 16th. Messages from night of September 24th, surgery night, including admission of laughing during emergency call. Messages from Sept to 26 to 28, showing continuation of affair despite promises to stop pending. Professional surveillance documentation scheduled for tomorrow. Decision on when, how to confront considerations. When to confront. How to confront. Who to tell first. Divorce versus other options. Financial implications. Family implications. That last one stuck with me. Family implications. Because this wasn't just about a cheating wife. This was about my brother. My younger brother. The one I'd helped raise after Dad died. The one who'd been my best man, my confidant, my responsibility in a lot of ways. How do you process betrayal from two directions simultaneously? How do you grieve a marriage and a brotherhood at the same time? I didn't have answers, just evidence, just screenshots and credit card statements and hotel confirmations. Just the documented proof that the two people I'd loved most had been systematically lying to me for 7 months while I paid the bills and planned the trips and trusted too much. Sarah came home at 7:15, apologetic about being late, smelling like hotel soap and cheap wine. She kissed me on the cheek, asked how I was feeling, started making dinner while chatting about her day. Book club was intense, she said, chopping vegetables with practiced efficiency. We're reading this literary fiction thing, very meta, lots of discussion about unreliable narrators. Sounds interesting, I said, watching her lie with such casual grace. It really is. Makes you think about perspective, you know? How the same story can be completely different depending on who's telling it. Yeah, I said. I imagine it would be. She smiled at me, warm and genuine, and started talking about her plans for the garden this weekend. I listened, nodded, responded at appropriate moments, played my role in the performance we'd apparently been conducting for months, and all the while my phone sat in my pocket, heavy with evidence. Tomorrow, the PI would add professional documentation to my collection. Tomorrow, I'd have everything I needed. The question was, what would I do with it? But that was a decision for later. For now, there was dinner to eat, a performance to maintain, and one more Thursday to document before I decided how the story would end. Thursday morning arrives like any other Thursday, which is somehow worse than if it had announced itself with thunder and ominous music. The sun rises, birds sing, Sarah makes coffee in our French press, the one we bought together on our honeymoon in Seattle, and asks if I want eggs. Just toast, I say, and she nods, humming something under her breath. She's wearing yoga pants and a loose sweater, the outfit I've seen her wear dozens of Thursdays before. The outfit I now understand is carefully chosen, easy to remove, comfortable, casual enough not to draw attention. She's thought about this, planned it. The yoga pants aren't for yoga at all. I have yoga at 2, she says, pouring coffee into the mug that says, "World's Best Wife." Someone gave it to her as a joke at our wedding shower. We'd both laughed. Should be home by 5:30. Want me to pick up anything for dinner? No, I say. We're good. She kisses the top of my head on her way past, and I smell her shampoo, the expensive kind from that boutique in Portland, the kind I order for her every 3 months because she loves it and I love making her happy. Used to love making her happy. I don't know what I feel anymore. After she leaves for her errands, the morning portion of her day, before the main event, I text Janet from Clearview Investigations. She just confirmed, 2 p.m. Janet's response is immediate. Team is ready. We'll update you when we have eyes on the situation. Team. Like this is a military operation. I suppose in a way it is. Strategic. Planned. Executed with precision. I try to work from home. Doctor's orders still say no office, no stress. But I can't focus. Every client email, every spreadsheet, every conference call feels like it's happening to someone else. I'm watching my life from the outside now, a spectator in my own existence. At 1:30 p.m., my phone buzzes. Subject 1, female, arrived at Riverside Inn, parking lot, east side, entering through main entrance. Subject 1. They mean Sarah. My wife is now Subject 1 in an investigation report. At 1:47 p.m. Subject 2, male, arrived, different vehicle, parked west side. Both subjects now in room 314. Subject 2, Marcus, my brother. They even arrived separately, maintained the pretense in case anyone was watching, except someone is watching now, and the pretense is just evidence of premeditation. I sit on our couch, the sectional we spent 3 weekends shopping for, arguing amicably about fabric and color, and I stare at my phone, wait for updates that I don't want but need. 2:15 p.m. Subjects confirmed in room, window curtains closed, no exterior activity. Of course the curtains are closed. This is their routine, their pattern, their careful choreography. Room 314 faces the parking lot, but the curtains are always closed. I know this because I found a photo Sarah took once, the afternoon light filtering through blue fabric. Our room, she'd called it in a message to Marcus. Their room. I should be doing something. Should be productive. Should be anything other than sitting on this couch in the middle of the afternoon, waiting for professional confirmation of what I already know. Instead, I find myself thinking about time, about how 7 months is 214 days, about how 214 days times 2 sessions per week is 428 hours of lies, 428 hours of my wife in a hotel room with my brother while I worked and trusted and planned our future. How many of those hours was I in the office, focused on a presentation or a client call? How many times did I text her, "How's yoga?" or "Enjoy book club," while she was 15 minutes away, naked in a room I paid for? The math is brutal. The math makes it real in a way that messages and credit card statements don't quite capture. My phone buzzes again at 3:30. Subject still inside, coffee delivery observed at 3:15, room service. Room service. They order coffee. Of course they do. They have a whole routine, a whole ritual. This isn't just sex, though that would be bad enough. This is comfortable, familiar. They have coffee together afterwards, probably talk, probably laugh, probably talk about me. I imagine it. Marcus and Sarah, tangled in sheets I'm paying for, drinking coffee they charged to my credit card, discussing what to make for Saturday dinner. Discussing me like I'm a scheduling problem, an obstacle to be navigated around. The image makes me nauseous. At 4:45 p.m., my phone buzzes with a call instead of a text. Janet. Mr. Mitchell, we have comprehensive documentation. Subject 1 just exited the building. Subject 2 is still inside. They're maintaining the separate departure protocol. Okay, I say. My voice sounds strange to my own ears. I can have the preliminary report to you tonight, full report with all photographic evidence by morning. Is that acceptable? Yes. Mr. Mitchell. Her voice is gentler now, the professional veneer cracking slightly. I'm sorry. I know that doesn't help, but I'm sorry. Thank you, I say and hang up. Sarah comes home at 5:35, exactly when she said she would. She's showered. I can tell by her damp hair, the fresh scent of hotel soap I've come to recognize. She's changed clothes too, from the yoga outfit into jeans and a t-shirt, covering her tracks, eliminating evidence. Good yoga class? I ask, looking up from my laptop where I've been pretending to work. Great, she says, dropping her bag by the door. Really got a good stretch in. Jenny says hi. Jenny, her yoga instructor who I've met twice, who probably has no idea her name is being used as an alibi for infidelity. That's nice, I say. Tell her hi back next time. Sarah moves into the kitchen, starts pulling ingredients for dinner. Pasta. She's making pasta. I watch her move through our kitchen with unconscious grace, opening drawers and cabinets with the muscle memory of repetition. This is her space, our space. The space where we've cooked hundreds of meals together, where we've had conversations about our days, our dreams, our plans. All of it contaminated now, all of it a performance. How is your day? She asks, filling a pot with water. Quiet. Made some calls, answered emails, nothing exciting. Good that you're resting, though. Doctor said at least 2 more weeks before you even think about going back to the office. She's concerned, genuinely concerned. I can hear it in her voice, see it in the way she glances at me while setting the pot on the stove. She cares about my recovery. She just cares about my brother more. How does that work? How do you love someone enough to care about their health while simultaneously betraying them in the most fundamental way possible? How do you compartmentalize that completely? We eat dinner together. Sarah tells me about a new restaurant her mother wants to try. Do I want to go next week? I say sure. She mentions that the garden is doing well, that the tomatoes are finally coming in. I nod. She asks if I've heard from Marcus lately, and I watch her face carefully as she says his name. Nothing. Not a flicker. Not a hint of guilt or discomfort. She's genuinely asking, casually interested, maintaining the facade with Oscar-worthy performance skills. He texted about dinner Saturday, I say. I told him Giuseppe's at 7. Oh, good, Sarah says, twirling pasta on her fork. I love Giuseppe's. Haven't been there in ages. We haven't been there since our anniversary last year. I took her there because it was where I proposed, because I'm sentimental like that. She wore a blue dress and told me she fell in love with me more every day. I wonder if she was sleeping with Marcus then. Check the timeline in my head. No, that was before February 14th, before the first message. We were still real then, or at least I was. After dinner, we watched TV, some crime drama Sarah likes, full of plot twists and betrayals, and people lying to the people they're supposed to trust. The irony is not lost on me. At 10 o'clock, my phone buzzes. Email from Janet. Preliminary report attached. Full documentation will be ready by 8 a.m. tomorrow. Work email, I tell Sarah, who glances at my phone. Client thing. At 10 p.m., they're demanding. You know how it is. She nods, turns back to the TV. I slip into the bathroom, lock the door, sit on the edge of the tub, and open the email. The preliminary report is 12 pages. Professional, detailed, devastating. Clear View Investigations. Preliminary Surveillance Report. Case number 240847. Date, Thursday, October 10th, 2024. Location, Riverside Inn, 28 and 47, Riverside Drive. Subjects, Subject 1, female 33. Subject 2, male 31. Investigator M. Torres. Timeline, 1:31 p.m. Subject 1 arrives in silver Honda Accord. License plate documented. Parks East parking lot, space E47. Enters hotel through main entrance. Observed at front desk briefly, then proceeds to elevator. 1:47 p.m. Subject 2 arrives in black Ford F-150. License plate documented. Parks West parking lot, space W23. Enters hotel through main entrance. No interaction with front desk. Proceeds directly to elevator. 1:52 p.m. Both subjects confirmed in room 314 via hotel staff cooperation. Curtains closed immediately upon entry. 3:15 p.m. Room service delivery observed. Order, 2 coffees, strawberry pastry plate. Delivery person reports room occupants answered door in hotel robes. 4:42 p.m. Subject 1 exits room. Observed in hotel hallway. Proceeds to elevator, exits through main entrance, returns to vehicle, and departs premises. 4:58 p.m. Subject 2 exits room. Takes stairs instead of elevator. Exits through side entrance. Returns to vehicle and departs premises. Photographic evidence. 47 images captured, including Subject 1, arrival and entry. Subject 2, arrival and entry vehicle documentation, both subjects. Room service delivery. Subject 1, departure. Subject 2, departure timestamp, documentation for all events. Additional notes. Subjects maintained separate arrival and departure times, suggesting awareness of potential observation. Hotel staff reports room is booked regularly every Tuesday and Thursday under Subject 1's name. Has been for approximately 7 months. Same room, 314, requested consistently. Front desk staff familiar with both subjects reports they are regulars. Preliminary assessment. Behavior consistent with ongoing extramarital affair. Duration and pattern suggest established relationship rather than isolated incident. Professional documentation supports client's initial suspicions. I read it twice. Then I scroll down to the photos. They're time-stamped, professionally composed, exactly what you'd expect from someone who does this for a living. Sarah getting out of her car, looking normal. Casual, not like someone on her way to betray her husband. Marcus 20 minutes later, checking his phone as he walks toward the entrance. Both of them entering the building, separate, but headed to the same place. Then there's one photo that stops me cold. It's from after. Sarah leaving, shot from behind as she walks through the parking lot. Her hair is down, still damp. She's wearing different clothes than she arrived in. And she's smiling. Just a small smile, the kind you wear when you're satisfied, content, happy. She looks like someone who just spent 3 hours doing something they love. I zoom in on that smile, and something in my chest cracks, not breaks. It broke days ago, but cracks, like ice splintering, like the foundation of a building giving way. She's happy. In this photo, in this moment, walking away from room 314, away from my brother, walking toward the car that will take her home to me. She's happy. I sit on the edge of the bathtub in our ensuite bathroom, the bathroom we renovated last year because Sarah wanted heated floors, and I stare at that smile until my phone screen goes dark. When I emerge, Sarah is already in bed, reading on her tablet. "You okay?" she asks. "You were in there a while." "Yeah, just checking work stuff. Lots of emails." "Come to bed," she says, patting the space beside her. "You need rest." I climb into bed next to my wife. She curls into me the way she has 1,000 nights before. Her head on my shoulder, her hand on my chest, her breathing slowly evening out as she drifts towards sleep. "Love you," she murmurs, already half gone. "Love you too," I say automatically. And I do, in some twisted, complicated way I'm still trying to understand. I love the woman I thought she was. I love 7 years of memories that are now contaminated but still mine. I love the version of us that existed before February 14th, before room 314, before everything went sideways. But I don't love this. Don't love lying next to someone who lies to me. Don't love wondering if she's thinking about him while she's falling asleep on my shoulder. Don't love being safe and stable and good while my brother gets to be dangerous and exciting and wrong in all the right ways. I lie there until her breathing shifts to the deep, steady rhythm of true sleep. Then I carefully extract myself, take my phone, and go to the study. Janet's email said full documentation by 8 a.m. I have 15 hours to decide what to do with it. 15 hours to figure out how to use this information, when to deploy it, what I want the outcome to be. Divorce is obvious. It's the expected response, the socially acceptable ending to this story. Wife cheats, husband divorces, everyone moves on with their lives. But something in me resists that simple narrative. Not because I want to save the marriage. You can't save something that's already dead, but because divorce feels too clean, too easy. It lets them off the hook, lets them rewrite the story as things just didn't work out, or we grew apart. I don't want them to grow apart from the truth. I want them to face it, to sit in it, to understand exactly what they've done and exactly what it cost. The question is, how? I open a new document on my computer and start writing. Not a plan exactly. More like possibilities, scenarios, different ways this could play out. Option 1, immediate confrontation. Show them the evidence, demand explanations. Quick divorce, cut all ties. Pros, fast, clean, decisive. Cons, no satisfaction, they control the narrative. Family divided option. 2, Saturday dinner. Reveal, wait until Saturday. Confront both together at restaurant public setting. Limits, volatility. Pros: both present, can't escape, witnesses to their reactions. Cons: public scene, messy, might hurt innocent bystanders. Option 3: strategic exposure. Compile comprehensive evidence package, present it methodically, give them time to absorb, let them destroy themselves with their own words. Pros: clean, evidence-based, irrefutable. Cons: requires patience, control. Option 4: the long game. Don't confront yet. Gather more evidence. Let them continue thinking they're safe. Strike when most advantageous. Pros: maximum impact, complete control. Cons: requires living the lie longer. I stare at these options, trying to figure out which version of myself I want to be. The quick-acting husband who ends it fast. The dramatic confronter who makes them face each other. The methodical documenter who builds an irrefutable case. The patient strategist who waits for the perfect moment. My phone buzzes. 2:47 a.m. A text from Marcus. Can't sleep, you up? I look at that message for a long time. My brother texting me at 2:47 in the morning, probably feeling guilty after his Thursday afternoon with my wife. Probably wanting connection, reassurance, the comfort of the big brother who's always been there for him. I text back. Yeah, thinking about stuff. Recovery is weird, makes you reflective. Marcus. I bet. Scared us when you got sick. Me. Scared me too. Marcus. Really looking forward to Saturday. Been too long since we all hung out. I read that message 3 times, looking for subtext, for guilt, for anything beyond the surface meaning. But it's just Marcus, being Marcus, comfortable in his deception, secure in the belief that I'm too trusting to ever figure it out. Me. Yeah, should be fun. Giuseppe's is always good. Marcus. The best. Hey, you good, like really good? Not just physically, but mentally, this whole thing must have been tough. And there it is, genuine concern. My brother actually cares about my well-being. He just cares about it separately from sleeping with my wife, like those are 2 different Marcuses that never have to interact. Me. I'm good, better every day. Life has a way of clarifying what matters, you know? Marcus. Deep. The appendicitis made you philosophical? Me. Something like that. Marcus. Well, get some sleep. See you Saturday. Love you, man. Me. Love you too. I put the phone down and sit in the darkness of my study, surrounded by evidence and options and the weight of decisions I'm not ready to make. Saturday is 2 days away. 48 hours to decide who I want to be when this ends. 48 hours to choose between quick and clean or slow and calculated. 48 hours to figure out how to destroy 2 people I used to love without destroying myself in the process. Outside, the sky is starting to lighten. Thursday is becoming Friday. In a few hours, Janet will send the full report. In a few hours, Sarah will wake up, make coffee, ask me how I slept. In a few hours, I'll have to decide if I'm ready to stop pretending, but not yet. For now, there's just the darkness and the evidence and the cold, clear certainty that whatever I decide, there's no going back. The old James, the trusting one, the safe one, the one who believed in the fundamental decency of family, he's gone, dead and buried somewhere between room 314 in this moment. What's rising in his place is something different, something harder. Something that understands that truth isn't just about knowing what happened. It's about making sure everyone else knows too. Friday morning comes with fog, the thick kind that turns the world so indistinct, makes everything feel like a memory, even while it's happening. I wake up alone. Sarah's already up, already performing her morning routine in the bathroom we share, already being the wife she pretends to be. I can hear water running, the electric toothbrush, the small sounds of domesticity that used to comfort me. Now, they just mark time. Now, they're just the soundtrack to a performance I'm watching from backstage. My phone shows 7:53 a.m., 7 minutes until Janet's full report arrives. I lie in bed and stare at the ceiling, at the crown molding we had installed last spring. Sarah had picked out the pattern from a catalog, shown me 3 different options, asked my opinion like it mattered. We'd chosen together, compromised. That's what marriage is, she'd said. 2 people making decisions together, building something neither could build alone. I wonder now if she was already sleeping with Marcus when she said that. Check the mental timeline. Yes, April, 2 months into their affair. She was standing in our bedroom, talking about crown molding and partnership and building things together. And she was already spending Tuesday and Thursday afternoons in room 314. The bathroom door opens, and Sarah emerges in a cloud of steam and vanilla-scented lotion. She's wearing the silk robe I bought her last Christmas, the expensive one from that boutique she'd admired but said was too much. "You're awake," she says, smiling. "How'd you sleep?" "Okay, up late thinking." "Still, baby, you need to let your brain rest as much as your body. Doctor's orders." She sits on the edge of the bed, reaches out to touch my forehead like she's checking for fever. Her hand is cool, gentle. This is real, I think. This concern is real. She can care about me and betray me simultaneously. Humans are capable of holding contradictions that would tear lesser species apart. "I'm fine," I say, catching her hand, holding it for a moment. Just processing everything. The surgery, mortality, life, you know. "I know," she says softly. "It's been a lot, for both of us." For both of us, like she's been through something comparable to almost dying. Like watching your husband nearly die, and laughing about it while in bed with his brother is equivalent trauma. "I'm making French toast," she says, standing. "Your favorite, with that good maple syrup from Vermont." "Sounds perfect." She leaves, and I check my phone. 8:02 a.m. The email is there, waiting. The subject line is bland, professional. Case 224-0847, final documentation. I don't open it yet. Instead, I get up, shower, dress, go through the motions of being a person, of being the James Mitchell who exists on the surface of things, the one who doesn't know, the one who still trusts. Sarah has indeed made French toast, and it's perfect. Golden brown, dusted with powdered sugar. The Vermont maple syrup warmed in a small pitcher. She set the table with the good plates, put out fresh flowers from the garden. It looks like a magazine spread. It looks like love. "This is amazing," I say. And it is. Sarah is an excellent cook. That doesn't change just because everything else has. "I wanted to do something nice," she says. "You've been through so much. I feel like I haven't been present enough, supportive enough." I pause, fork halfway to my mouth. Is this guilt? Is this her way of processing what she's doing by overcompensating in other areas? Be the perfect wife at breakfast to balance out being the unfaithful wife at 2 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays? "You've been great," I lie. "Really, I couldn't ask for more." She smiles, reaches across the table to squeeze my hand. "I love you. You know that, right? Whatever happens, whatever life throws at us. I love you." The words hang in the air between us, and I wonder if she means them. If somewhere in the complicated architecture of her divided heart, there's a room where she genuinely loves me, or if this is just another performance, another line in a script she's perfected over 7 months. "I love you too," I say, because what else is there to say? After breakfast, Sarah leaves for errands. Real ones this time. It's Friday, not a hotel day. I watch her go. Then finally, I open Janet's email. The full report is 63 pages. I pour myself coffee, the expensive kind Sarah buys from that roaster downtown, the kind that costs $20 a pound, and I start reading. It's all there. Everything. Timeline, photographs, witness statements from hotel staff, credit card analysis, phone record correlations. Janet's team didn't just document Thursday afternoon. They went back, verified every Tuesday and Thursday for 7 months, cross-referenced every piece of evidence I'd found with their own investigation. They found things I'd missed, like the fact that Marcus had rented room 314 under his name 3 times, the time Sarah's credit card was maxed out or when she was trying to appear less suspicious on the statements, like the fact that they'd been seen having lunch together twice at a restaurant 40 minutes away, far enough that they thought they were safe, like the witness statement from a hotel housekeeper who'd walked in on them once when they forgot to put out the "Do Not Disturb" sign. They were very apologetic, the housekeeper's statement read. The woman said it was their anniversary, asked me not to mention it to anyone because they were married to other people and this was their special secret. She tipped me $100. Their anniversary. They had an anniversary. 7 months ago, February 14th. That was their anniversary. While I was taking Sarah to Marcello's for Valentine's Day, she was starting to mark a different calendar, celebrate a different relationship. The photos are worse in full resolution. Professional camera, clear detail, timestamps burned into the corners like evidence tags. Sarah and Marcus are just subjects in an investigation, but they're also my wife and my brother. And seeing them documented this way, clinical, objective, irrefutable, makes it real in a way that messages and credit card charges didn't quite manage. There's a photo of them leaving the hotel. They must have forgotten the separate departure protocol this time, or maybe they felt safe enough to bend the rules. They're walking to their cars, not touching but close together, and Marcus is saying something that's making Sarah laugh. Really laugh, head thrown back, hand on her stomach, the way she laughs at things that genuinely delight her. I can't remember the last time I made her laugh like that. The report includes recommendations. Janet's seen this before, done this hundreds of times. She knows what comes next. Recommendations, legal action. Evidence compiled is sufficient for divorce proceedings in this jurisdiction. Adultery clearly documented. Recommend consultation with divorce attorney before confrontation to protect assets and establish strategy. Financial protection. Suggest immediate review of joint accounts, credit cards, assets. Consider separation of finances before subjects become aware of investigation. Confrontation strategy. If client chooses to confront, recommend controlled environment with witnesses or recording capability. Subjects have shown capacity for deception. Having irrefutable evidence readily available prevents gaslighting or denial. Support system. Recommend identifying trusted friends, family, who can provide support during this process. Consider professional counseling to process trauma of betrayal. Timeline. Based on pattern analysis, subjects will likely continue affair if uninterrupted. Next scheduled encounter. Tuesday, October 15th, 2024, 2:00 p.m. Next Tuesday, 4 days away. They'll do it again in 4 days because they always do, because this is who they are now, because there's no reason for them to stop, unless I give them one. I close the laptop and sit in the quiet of our kitchen. Sarah's kitchen, really. She chose the backsplash, the cabinet hardware, the paint color she called Sage Whisper. I'd just written the checks, trusted her taste, been happy she was happy. My phone rings. Unknown number. I almost don't answer, but something makes me pick up. Mr. Mitchell, this is David Reeves from Reeves and Associates. Detective Chen gave me your information, said you might need legal consultation. Divorce attorney. Chen is looking out for me, making sure I have the right resources. Yes, thank you for calling. I've looked at your situation preliminarily, based on what Detective Chen shared. I have some time this afternoon if you'd like to come in. 3 o'clock work? 3 o'clock. When Sarah will be at Pilates. Real Pilates this time. I checked. It's Friday. She actually does have a Pilates class on Fridays. 3 o'clock is perfect. Good. Bring any documentation you have. We'll discuss options, strategy, protection of assets. This is just a consultation. You're not committing to anything. But it's good to know where you stand. After I hang up, I spend an hour organizing everything. The screenshots, the call logs, the hotel confirmations, Janet's 63-page report. I put it all on a thumb drive, make backup copies, email everything to myself at 3 different addresses. This evidence is my ammunition, and I'm not risking losing it. Then I do something that feels both necessary and insane. I start a spreadsheet. Financial analysis. James and Sarah Mitchell. I track every dollar. Joint account, my account, her account, credit cards, investments, the house. Figure out what's mine, what's hers, what's ours. Calculate what 7 months of hotel rooms actually cost. $54,025, it turns out, when you add up every Tuesday and Thursday at $127.50. $54,825. That's what this affair cost in just hotel fees, not counting the lunches Marcus mentioned in texts or the gifts Sarah bought him that I found receipts for buried in her email, or the time, the energy, the emotional resources spent on maintaining a lie. $54,000 would have paid for the Italy trip with money left over, would have covered the new roof we've been saving for, would have done a lot of things. Instead, it bought 2 and 14 afternoons in room 314. David Reeves's office is downtown, 20th floor, glass walls with a view of the river. He's younger than I expected, maybe 40, with kind eyes and a firm handshake. Coffee? He offers. Water? I'm fine. We sit in his conference room, and I hand over the thumb drive. He plugs it into his laptop, and I watch his face as he reviews the evidence. He's good at this. His expression stays neutral, professional, even when he gets to the messages from the night of my surgery. After 20 minutes, he closes the laptop and looks at me. This is comprehensive, he says. Honestly, one of the most well-documented cases I've seen. You've done my job for me. What happens now? That depends on what you want. Divorce is straightforward. Adultery is grounds in the state, and you have irrefutable proof. The affair being with a family member complicates the emotional aspect, but actually strengthens your legal position. No judge is going to be sympathetic to your wife in this scenario. Assets? House is in both names, but you paid the down payment. I see that in the records. You've been the primary earner throughout the marriage. You'll likely keep the house. Joint accounts get split, but given the circumstances, we can argue for a larger percentage going to you. Retirement accounts, investments, all divvied up. You'll come out of this okay financially. He pauses, taps his pen on the table. But that's not what you're really asking me, is it? What do you mean? In my experience, when someone comes in with evidence this thorough, they're not just looking for legal advice. They're looking for permission. They want someone to tell them it's okay to be angry, to want more than just a divorce decree. I don't say anything. Let me be clear, David continues. My job is to get you the best possible outcome in a divorce. Protect your assets, protect your future. But I've been doing this 15 years, and I can tell you, the clients who do best are the ones who don't let revenge drive the process. Anger is fine. Anger is healthy. But letting anger make your decisions, that's how people destroy themselves, trying to destroy someone else. What if I don't want revenge? I say slowly. What if I just want truth? Then you confront them with the evidence and file for divorce. Clean, simple, done. And they get to control the narrative. They get to tell people we grew apart or had irreconcilable differences. They get to be victims of a failed marriage instead of architects of betrayal. David nods slowly. You want them to face what they've done. Want it public. Want consequences beyond just signing papers. Is that revenge? That's justice, he says. And there's a difference, but it's thinner than most people think. The question is, can you handle what comes after? Because public exposure, especially with family involved, that's scorched earth. That changes everything. Not just your relationship with your wife, but with your brother, your families, mutual friends. Everyone picks sides. Everyone has opinions, and you can't control how that goes. They didn't think about that. When they were laughing during my emergency surgery, David's expression shifts slightly. No, they didn't. And that tells you something about who they are. The question is, who do you want to be? I sit with that for a long moment. The conference room is very quiet. Outside, the city continues, indifferent to my crisis. People working, living, having their own dramas that have nothing to do with mine. I want to be someone who stands up for himself, I say finally. I want to be someone who doesn't let people treat him like he's stupid. I want to be someone who values himself enough to demand accountability. Then we can work with that, David says. But we do it smart. We protect you first, legally, financially, emotionally. Then we let them face what they've done. In whatever way you decide makes sense. We spend the next hour going through strategy, filing procedures, asset protection, timeline. David recommends I open a separate bank account, transfer half of the joint savings immediately. It's legal, it's fair, and it protects me from Sarah draining accounts once she knows I know. Do that today, he says, before you confront, before anything goes public. Protect yourself first. He also recommends I tell at least one trusted friend, someone outside the situation, someone who can be my witness and support when things go sideways. Isolation is dangerous, he says. Betrayal makes you want to hide, but you need people. Choose wisely, but choose someone. After the meeting, I sit in my car in the parking garage and think about who I would tell. Most of our friends are couple friends, people we know together, people who will have to choose sides or try to remain neutral, which is its own kind of choosing. Then I think of Robert, my college roommate, best man at my wedding before I asked Marcus to do it because family should stand up for family. Robert, who moved to Portland for work, but who I still talk to monthly, who's been telling me for years that I'm too trusting, too giving, that I need to stand up for myself more. Robert, who never particularly liked Sarah, though he was too polite to say it directly, who definitely never liked Marcus, wasn't polite about that at all. I call him, "James, how are you? Heard through the grapevine you had some health scare." "Yeah, appendicitis. Almost died." "Jesus. You okay now?" "Physically, yes. Everything else. I need to tell you something, and you're going to say, 'I told you so,' and I need you to not do that right now." There's a pause. When Robert speaks again, his voice is different. Careful. "What happened?" I tell him. Not everything. I don't read him the messages or go through every detail. But the broad strokes. Sarah and Marcus, 7 months, hotel rooms, the night of my surgery, the evidence I've compiled. When I finish, there's a long silence. "Robert, I'm here, just processing. You said I'd say, 'I told you so,' but I don't want to say that. I want to say I'm sorry. I want to say this is fucked up. I want to say your brother is dead to me and your wife is..." He stops. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know yet. Divorce, obviously, but the how and when, I'm still figuring that out." "Do you need me to come there? I can take a few days off, drive down." "No, not yet. Maybe after. But I need you to know. Need someone outside this mess to know the truth before I decide how to handle it. You have the truth. You have evidence. James, you have everything you need to destroy them. The question is whether that's what you want. Isn't it?" "Is it?" Robert's voice is gentle. "Or do you want something else? Want them to hurt the way you hurt? Want them to understand what they've done? Want justice? Want revenge? Those are different things with different costs. You sound like my lawyer. Your lawyer is smart. Listen to him, but also listen to yourself. The James I know, the guy who helped me pass calculus, who talked me down from dropping out junior year, who's always been the steady one, the good guy. He's in there somewhere, under all this hurt. Make sure when you decide what to do, it's him deciding, not just the anger. After we hang up, I sit in the parking garage and think about who I am, who I was, who I want to be. The old James would forgive, would try to understand, would look for ways to save the relationship because that's what good men do. They fight for their marriages. But the old James was operating with incomplete information. The old James thought his wife and brother were good people who wouldn't hurt him. The old James was wrong about fundamental things. The new James, the one forged in hospital rooms and hotel receipts and 63-page investigation reports, he knows better. He knows that some things can't be forgiven. Some things shouldn't be. Tomorrow is Saturday. Tomorrow is Giuseppe's at 7. Tomorrow is the three of us at a table, pretending to be family while I sit on evidence that could detonate all of our lives. The question is, do I detonate it then, or do I wait? Do I choose the dramatic reveal, the public confrontation, or do I take David's advice, be strategic, protect myself first, and strike later? I drive home. Sarah is in the garden, tending her tomatoes. She waves when she sees me, holds up a particularly large tomato like a trophy. She looks happy. She looks like someone who has a secret she thinks is safe, a life she thinks she's successfully divided into compartments that never have to interact. She looks like someone who doesn't know the walls are about to come down. I wave back, paste on a smile, play my part. Tomorrow, I decide. Tomorrow, I'll figure out who I want to be when this ends. Tonight, I'll be the husband who doesn't know. One more night of the performance. One more night before everything changes. One more night of the lie. Saturday arrives with the weight of a held breath, the moment before something breaks. I wake early, before Sarah, and lie in the gray morning light thinking about last suppers and final meals and the way some dinners mark the end of something, even if everyone at the table doesn't know it yet. Giuseppe's at 7, the three of us, the last time we'll all sit together and pretend to be family. I know this absolutely, the way you know the sun will rise or water will freeze. After tonight, something will shift. Maybe I'll confront them. Maybe I won't. But I'll never be able to sit across from them again and not see what I know. Never be able to hear Marcus laugh or watch Sarah smile without overlaying it with images from room 314, with messages that start with, "Can't stop thinking about this afternoon." The knowing has changed me, made me hyper-aware of every gesture, every glance, every word that passes between them. I've become an anthropologist of my own life, studying the specimens who used to be my wife and brother, cataloging their behaviors, noting patterns. Today, I'll watch them in their natural habitat, a nice restaurant, playing family, performing normalcy, and I'll decide what kind of scientist I want to be. The kind who observes and documents, or the kind who intervenes and disrupts. Sarah wakes at 8, stretches like a cat, turns to me with sleep-soft eyes. "Morning," she murmurs, and kisses my shoulder. "What time is it?" 8. We have all day before dinner. What should we do? What should we do? Like we're a normal couple planning a normal Saturday. Like she didn't spend Thursday afternoon in a hotel with my brother. Like we have a future that extends beyond tonight. "Whatever you want," I say. She wants to go to the farmer's market. Wants to pick up fresh flowers and local honey and that artisan bread she likes. Wants to spend the morning being the kind of couple who goes to farmers markets, who supports local businesses, who squeezes avocados together and debates the merits of heirloom tomatoes versus regular ones. I go, I perform, I carry the canvas bag she brought, and I nod when she asks if I think the sunflowers or the dahlias would look better in the living room. I pay the vendors with cash, and I smile, and I do not think about the credit card charges or the hotel rooms, or the 63-page report sitting on my laptop at home. Or I try not to think about it, but it's like trying not to think about a bomb under the floorboards. Every step you take, you're aware of it. Every moment, you're calculating blast radius and collateral damage. "You're quiet today," Sarah observes as we walk back to the car, bags full of organic produce and handmade soap and all the props of a life that's already ended. "Just thinking about how you're going to look when I show you the evidence, about whether Marcus will try to deny it or just crumble, about how many people will know by next week, next month, how this story will be told and retold until it becomes something else entirely. About tonight," I say instead. "Been a while since we all got together." "I know. It'll be nice." She squeezes my hand. "We should do it more often. Family dinners. The three of us. The three of us. Like we're a unit. A trinity. Something sacred and unbreakable. The irony would be funny if it wasn't so devastating." At home, I spend the afternoon in the study while Sarah does whatever Sarah does. Reads, gardens, takes a bath, prepares herself for an evening of performance art titled The Faithful Wife. I pull up the evidence again. Can't help myself. It's become a compulsion, this reviewing of facts, this constant verification that I'm not crazy, that this is real, that I have grounds for what I'm about to do. Except, I still don't know what I'm about to do. David Reeves's voice echoes in my head. "Protect yourself first, then let them face what they've done." Robert's voice. "Make sure when you decide, it's you deciding, not just the anger." Janet's voice. "I'm sorry, I know that doesn't help, but I'm sorry." A chorus of people who've seen this before, who know how it goes, who are trying to guide me through a process they understand and I'm experiencing for the first time. At 6, I shower and dress, khakis and a button-down, the uniform of suburban Saturday nights. I look at myself in the mirror, really look, the way you do when you're trying to recognize yourself, and I see someone familiar but changed. Same face, same haircut, same scar on my chin from a skateboarding accident when I was 12. But the eyes are different, harder, older. I've aged years in 2 weeks. That's what betrayal does. It compresses time, makes you live through decades of disillusionment in days. Sarah emerges from the bedroom wearing the dress, the blue one, the one she wore to the hotel 3 weeks ago, the one in the photo from Janet's report. I know she doesn't know I know this. Doesn't know I've seen the picture of her in this exact dress, walking through the Riverside Inn parking lot, with post-coital satisfaction written across her face. She's wearing it for Marcus, a signal, a secret message in fabric and color. "You look beautiful," I say, because I'm supposed to, because that's what husbands say. "Thank you." She does a little turn, pleased. "I love this dress. Best birthday present ever." I bought her that dress, with my credit card, so she could wear it to sleep with my brother. The layers of betrayal are almost impressive in their complexity. Giuseppe's is downtown, a 10-minute drive. We make small talk in the car. Sarah chatters about the flowers we bought, about her mother's upcoming visit, about whether we should repaint the guest room. I make appropriate responses. I've gotten good at this, at being present without being present, at performing James while the real me watches from somewhere else. Marcus is already there when we arrive, sitting at the bar nursing a beer. He lights up when he sees us, and I watch, really watch, as his eyes find Sarah. It's quick, barely a flicker, but it's there. A moment of connection, of recognition, of something that shouldn't exist between a man and his brother's wife. Then he's hugging me, and I'm hugging him back, and we're brothers again on the surface. "How you feeling, man?" he asks, pulling back to look at me. "You look good. Better. Getting there, strong enough for Italian food at least. That's the real test of recovery." He turns to Sarah, and I watch this too. Watch how carefully he hugs her. A side hug, brief, appropriate, nothing that would seem odd to a casual observer. But I'm not a casual observer anymore. I'm an expert in their deception, and I can see the effort it takes. Can see Sarah's slight hesitation, Marcus's too firm grip on my shoulder to compensate for wanting to touch her instead. They're good at this. 7 months of practice makes you good at anything. We're seated at a corner table, the same table where I proposed 5 years ago. I'd specifically requested it when I made the reservation. Sarah doesn't remember, or if she does, she doesn't mention it. Marcus certainly doesn't know, but I know. I chose this table deliberately, though I'm not sure why. Some sense of poetic justice, maybe. Or just wanting to overlay this moment on top of that one, mark the ending where the beginning happened. We order wine. Sarah gets the Pinot Grigio, Marcus the Chianti. I stick with water because I'm still on medication. This is true, technically, though I stopped taking the pain pills 3 days ago. But it's a good excuse not to drink, to stay sharp, to maintain clarity while they relax into the comfortable rhythm of their shared deception. The waiter brings bread, and we perform the ritual of tearing and dipping and commenting on the quality of the olive oil. Normal dinner conversation, weather, work, the news. Sarah mentions her book club. I watch Marcus when she says it, watch for any reaction. Nothing. He's a blank slate. "What are you reading?" I ask. "Oh, it's this literary fiction thing. Kind of experimental. Hard to describe." "Try me." She laughs, slightly nervous. "You'd hate it. It's very meta, all about unreliable narrators and perspective." "Sounds perfect for you," I say. "You've always been good with perspective, seeing things from different angles." Is that too pointed? Maybe. But Sarah just smiles, takes a sip of wine, doesn't catch it. Marcus does, though. I see something flicker across his face, quick as lightning. Suspicion, concern. But then it's gone, and he's asking about my recovery timeline, when I'll be back at work full-time. "Couple more weeks," I say. "Doctor wants to be cautious, near-death experience and all." "God, don't say it like that," Sarah says, reaching for my hand. "You weren't near death." "The doctor said if I'd waited another hour, I might have been." "But you didn't wait." Her hand tightens on mine. "You called. You got help. You were fine." Thanks to the hospital. I look at Marcus. They tried calling Sarah first. Did she tell you that? I feel Sarah's hand stiffen slightly in mine. "No," Marcus says carefully. "I didn't know that." "Yeah, they called her emergency contact number. Someone answered." I pause, take a sip of water. Weird thing is, Sarah's phone was dead, so I never figured out who they talked to. The silence at the table is maybe 3 seconds long, but feels like hours. Sarah's hand is still in mine, but I can feel the tension in it now. Marcus is very carefully studying his wine glass. "That is weird," Sarah says finally. "Maybe they misdialed, or got someone else's phone by mistake." "Maybe," I say agreeably. The paramedic said whoever answered made a joke. Something about hands and mouths, probably just a wrong number. I watch Marcus, watch his face do this incredibly subtle thing where the color drains slightly, then returns. Watch him process whether I know, how I could know, what this means. "People are weird," he says, going for casual and almost making it. "Probably some asshole who thought it was funny to mess with a hospital." "Probably," I agree. The waiter arrives with our entrees, and the moment passes, or seems to, but the tension remains, subtle as smoke, curling through our conversation. I've planted something, a seed of doubt, of worry. They're wondering now if I know, wondering how much, wondering if this dinner is what it seems, or if it's something else entirely. Good. Let them wonder. Let them feel even a fraction of the uncertainty I've been living with. We eat. The food is excellent. Giuseppe's never disappoints. Pasta that melts on your tongue, veal that practically dissolves, tiramisu that tastes like coffee-flavored clouds. We talk about Marcus's work, about Sarah's garden, about the upcoming holidays. Normal family dinner. Except I keep noticing things. The way Marcus and Sarah don't look at each other unless they have to. The way they're hyper-aware of where the other person is, like pilots tracking aircraft to avoid collision. The way Sarah's laugh is slightly too bright, too performative. The way Marcus drinks his wine slightly too fast. They're nervous. My little comment about the phone call has rattled them, and now they're wondering what else I might know, what else I might say. You two have been spending a lot of time together lately, I observed midway through the meal. Sarah mentioned you helped her pick out new curtains for the guest room. Sarah freezes, fork halfway to her mouth. What? No, Oh, sorry, I smile. Maybe I misheard. Was it Jennifer who helped? Yes, Jennifer. Sarah recovers quickly. I should have asked Marcus, though. He's got better taste than me. I don't know about that, Marcus says. Your design sense is great. When do you ever see my design sense? Sarah asks, and there's an edge to it, a warning. Don't reference the house. Don't reference knowing anything about my taste or style or how I decorate. From, being here, at your house. Marcus is stumbling now, aware he's in dangerous territory. When I visit. Right, I say. When you visit. Which has been what? Once a month? Every few weeks? Something like that. Seems like more, I muse. I feel like you're here all the time. Or maybe it just feels that way because we talk so much. You two are always texting, right, Sarah? I guess. Sarah's voice is tight. I mean, we text sometimes. He's your brother. My brother, I repeat. Family, the people you're supposed to be able to trust most in the world. Another silence, heavier this time. I'm pushing, I know I'm pushing, but I can't seem to stop. Can't resist seeing how far I can go before one of them cracks, before the careful facade splinters. Marcus clears his throat. You okay, James? You seem, I don't know, off. Off? Like something's bothering you. Something is bothering me, I admit. I've been thinking a lot since the surgery, about mortality, about what matters, about truth. That's heavy, Marcus says. Near-death experiences tend to be heavy. I lean back in my chair, look at both of them. They make you reconsider things. Make you wonder if the life you're living is real, or if it's just performance, I'm not sure I follow, Sarah says carefully. Well, like, how much of what we do is authentic? How much is just going through motions because it's expected? How do we know if people actually mean the things they say, or if they're just acting? That's kind of a dark way to look at things, Marcus offers. Is it? Or is it realistic? I mean, people lie all the time, to themselves, to each other, build entire lives on foundations of polite fiction. James, Sarah's voice is concerned now, her hand back on mine. Are you okay? Is this about the surgery? Maybe you should talk to someone, a therapist, or... I have been talking to someone, I interrupt. A few people, actually, very illuminating conversations. I watch her absorb this, watch Marcus shift in his seat. That's good, Sarah says. Therapy is good, healthy. Oh, not therapy, just conversations. With investigators mostly, private investigators. They're fascinating people, very thorough. The silence this time is absolute. I can hear other conversations in the restaurant, the clink of silverware on plates, the gentle murmur of ambient music. But at our table, nothing. Sarah's face has gone very still. Marcus looks like he might be sick. Why would you talk to private investigators? Sarah asks finally, each word chosen carefully. Just curious about some things, some patterns I noticed, charges on the credit card, call logs, that sort of thing. I smile. Probably nothing, but you know me. When I get curious about something, I like to understand it fully. James, Marcus starts. It's interesting, I continue. What you can learn when you really look, when you stop trusting and start verifying. All these little details that seem innocuous in isolation, but paint quite a picture when you put them together. What are you saying? Sarah's voice is barely above a whisper. I look at her, really look at her, at my wife, wearing the dress I bought her, sitting in the restaurant where I proposed, asking me what I'm saying like she doesn't know, like she hasn't spent 7 months creating the exact situation I'm dancing around. And I realize I'm not ready yet. Not ready to detonate this here, now, in public. Not ready to have this conversation in a restaurant full of strangers. Not ready to show them the full extent of what I know and lose the small amount of power that comes from them not being certain. I'm saying I'm grateful, I say finally, for both of you, for having people in my life I can trust. Family. The relief that washes over both their faces is almost comical. Almost. If it wasn't so pathetic, so revealing of their guilt and fear. Of course, Sarah breathes. Always. Always, Marcus echoes. We finish dinner, order dessert, have coffee, make plans to do this again soon, act out the final scene of our performance. But something has shifted. They know I suspect something, even if they don't know what or how much. The perfect security of their secret has been compromised. And they'll spend the next few days wondering if I know, should they confess, how bad is this really? Let them wonder. Let them worry. Because I've decided something tonight, watching them squirm and lie and perform. I'm not going to confront them yet. Not until I have every piece in place. Not until I've protected everything that matters and prepared for every possible outcome. David Reeves was right. Protect yourself first. So that's what I'll do. I'll protect myself. I'll gather the last pieces of evidence I need. I'll prepare the battlefield. And then, when I'm ready, when everything is perfect, I'll let them face what they've done. But on my terms, in my time. When I'm ready to watch everything burn. We leave Giuseppe's at 10. Sarah drives because I'm still recovering. Marcus follows us home to pick up some tools he left in my garage weeks ago. We stand in the driveway under the streetlights, 3 points of a triangle that's about to collapse in on itself. Good night, Marcus says, hugging me. Love you, man. Love you too, I say, and mean it, in some complicated way that exists alongside everything else. You can love someone and hate what they've done, can want to destroy them, and mourn who they used to be simultaneously. Humans are capable of holding contradictions that would tear lesser species apart. We watch him drive away, and Sarah leans against me, tired and relieved. That was nice, she says. We should do it more often. Yeah, I agree, we should. We go inside. She gets ready for bed. I check my email one more time and find a message from Janet. Per your request, surveillance scheduled for Tuesday. We'll document as before. Let me know if you need anything else. Tuesday, the next scheduled session in room 314. One more piece of evidence to add to the pile. One more nail in the coffin of our marriage. One more step toward the ending I'm building. Sarah calls from the bedroom. Coming to bed? In a minute, I call back. I sit in the study in the dark and think about dinner. About the fear in their eyes when I mentioned investigators. About the relief when they thought they'd escaped. They haven't escaped. They just don't know it yet. But they will. Soon. Sunday morning feels different. The air in the house has changed, become charged with something I can't quite name. Anticipation, maybe. Or dread. The feeling you get before a storm when the pressure drops and birds go silent and the world holds its breath. Sarah is quieter than usual, makes coffee without humming, sits at the kitchen table scrolling through her phone with a small furrow between her eyebrows that I've learned means she's worried about something. I wonder if Marcus texted her. Wonder if they've been up since dawn dissecting last night, analyzing every word I said, trying to calculate how much danger they're in. Sleep okay? I ask, pouring myself coffee. Fine. She doesn't look up from her phone. You? Like a baby. This is a lie. I was up until 3 in the morning, creating spreadsheets and timelines and worst-case scenarios, preparing for every possible outcome of the confrontation I still haven't decided when to have. But Sarah doesn't need to know that. She puts her phone down, looks at me with an expression I can't quite read. Can we talk? My heart rate spikes. This is it, I think. She's going to confess. She's going to crack under the pressure of last night, tell me everything, throw herself on my mercy. Of course, she takes a breath. Last night, you said some things that worried me, about investigators and not trusting people and everything being a performance. James, are we okay? Why wouldn't we be? I don't know. You've been different since the surgery. Distant. Like you're somewhere else even when you're right here. Her eyes are searching my face. If something's wrong, if I've done something, have you? I interrupt gently. Done something. The pause is infinitesimal, but it's there. No, of course not. I want to make sure you're okay, that we're okay. This is the moment. I could end it right here. Could say, we're not okay, and lay out the evidence and watch her world collapse. Could have the confrontation now, in our kitchen, over coffee on a Sunday morning. But something stops me. Maybe it's not time yet. Maybe I need more. Maybe I just want to watch her squirm a little longer. We're fine, I say. I'm just processing a lot. The surgery, the near-death thing, it messes with your head, makes you question everything. But we're good. I promise. The relief on her face is genuine. She actually believes me, or wants to believe me enough that she convinces herself. Okay, good. I love you. You know that, right? I know. I kiss her forehead, and it feels like kissing a stranger. I love you too. She goes back to her phone, tension visibly draining from her shoulders, and I wonder how she does it. How she compartmentalizes so completely. How she can sit here drinking coffee with me, saying she loves me, planning our day while simultaneously maintaining a 7-month affair with my brother. It's almost impressive, in a sociopathic kind of way. My phone buzzes. Text from Robert. How'd dinner go? I step out onto the back porch, close the door behind me. Me. Interesting. Didn't confront them, but let them know I'm suspicious. Robert. And? Me. They're scared. Don't know how much I know. Should see them. Tuesday. I have another surveillance scheduled. Robert. Jesus. You're really going full investigation mode. Me. Would you do anything different? Long pause. Then, no, probably not. But I'd be worried about you. This is consuming you, man. I can hear it in your texts. He's not wrong. This has become my entire world. The evidence, the planning, the constant vigilance. I wake up thinking about it, go to sleep thinking about it, spend every spare moment organizing and analyzing and preparing. Me. It won't be much longer. Once I have everything I need, I'll end it. Robert. Make sure you're ready for what comes after. The ending is just the beginning of a different kind of hard. I pocket my phone and stand on the porch, looking at Sarah's garden. The tomatoes are coming in beautifully. The flowers she planted are in full bloom. Everything looks perfect, healthy, thriving. Just like our marriage looked perfect, until I started digging beneath the surface. Monday passes in a haze of normalcy. Sarah works from home. She's a graphic designer, freelance, which gives her the flexibility to have her Tuesdays and Thursdays free. How convenient. I work from the study, actually work, trying to catch up on the projects I've been neglecting. At lunch, Sarah brings me a sandwich. You've been in here all morning, need to take a break. Thanks. I accept the sandwich, note that she made it exactly how I like it. Turkey, avocado, that expensive mustard I prefer. She's being extra attentive, extra wifely. Guilt or fear? What are you working on? she asks, leaning against the doorframe. The Henderson proposal. Due Wednesday. Need any help? I could look at the visuals if you want. We used to do this sometimes, collaborate on projects. She'd help me with design elements. I'd help her with business strategy. It was nice, working together. Partnership. I'm good, but thanks. She lingers for a moment, like she wants to say something else, then just nods and leaves. I eat the sandwich and think about poison. Not literal poison. I'm not that far gone. But metaphorical poison. How betrayal is like toxin in the bloodstream, contaminating everything. Even sandwich making becomes suspect. Even kindness becomes calculation. That night, I can't sleep, can't stop thinking about tomorrow. Tuesday. The next scheduled session at the Riverside Inn. Janet's team will be there, documenting everything, adding to the mountain of evidence I've already compiled. At 2 in the morning, I get up, go to the study, pull up the evidence folder again. It's become a compulsion, this reviewing. Like I'm afraid if I don't keep checking, it won't be real. Like it might disappear and I'll be left with only my suspicions and no proof, but it's all still there. Messages, photos, hotel confirmations, Janet's 63-page report. All of it real, all of it damning. I open a new document and start writing. Not a confrontation speech. I've written and deleted a dozen of those. Something else. A letter, maybe. Or a manifesto. An attempt to organize my thoughts. Figure out what I actually want from this situation. What I want. The cursor blinks. What do I want? 1. Truth acknowledged. Not just admitted. Acknowledged. I want them to face what they've done. See it clearly. Understand the full scope of their betrayal. No minimizing. No excuses. No, it just happened. Or, it didn't mean anything. 2. Consequences. Actions have consequences. They've spent 7 months avoiding consequences, operating in a bubble where their choices don't matter. That bubble needs to pop. 3. My dignity intact. Don't want to be the cuckolded husband people pity. Don't want to be the fool who didn't know. I want people to understand that I'm not stupid. They were just skilled liars. There's a difference. 4. Justice over revenge. This is the hard one. The line between justice and revenge is thin, maybe non-existent. But I want to believe there's a difference. Want to believe I can destroy what they built without destroying myself in the process. 5. Peace, eventually. After the storm, after the fallout. I want peace. Want to wake up one morning and not immediately think about room 314 or credit card statements, or the sound of them laughing while I was dying. I stare at the list. It seems reasonable, doesn't it? None of these things are unreasonable, but achieving them, that's the complicated part. Tuesday morning arrives like an executioner. Polite, punctual, inevitable. Sarah is already up when I wake, moving around the bedroom with the efficiency of routine. Yoga clothes, hair pulled back, the costume of her lie. Big day? I ask from bed. Just yoga. Then maybe lunch with Jennifer. You? Conference call at 3. Otherwise, pretty quiet. She kisses me goodbye at 1:45. Love you. See you later. Have a good class. The door closes behind her, and I count to 60. Then I text Janet. Subject 1 just left. Should arrive on schedule. Janet. Team is in position. We'll update. I try to work. Can't focus. The conference call at 3 is real, but I spend the hour before it refreshing my email, waiting for updates. 2:03 p.m. Subject 1 arrived. Entering hotel. 2:19 p.m. Subject 2 arrived. Both subjects now in room. I sit at my desk and imagine it. Imagine them in room 314, our room, their room. Imagine them closing the curtains, ordering coffee, falling into bed together. Imagine them comfortable, familiar, secure in their deception. Imagine them not knowing that 300 feet away, someone with a telephoto lens is documenting every moment. The conference call at 3 is torture, My colleagues are discussing quarterly projections, and I'm nodding and making appropriate noises while my phone sits next to my keyboard, waiting for the next update. 3:47 p.m. Room service delivery observed. Coffee and pastries same as before. Same as before. They have a routine, an order they place every time. Coffee and pastries and 3 hours of betrayal, scheduled with the regularity of a business meeting. The call ends at 4. I stare at my phone. Wait. 4:56 p.m. Subject 1 departing, photographed. Appeared relaxed, smiling. Of course she's smiling. Why wouldn't she be? As far as she knows, everything is fine. Her secret is safe. Her husband trusts her. Her life is perfectly compartmentalized into acceptable segments that never have to interact. 5:12 p.m. Subject 2 departing. Separate exit as usual. Documentation complete. It's done. Again. One more Tuesday in the books. One more set of evidence for the pile. Janet calls at 5:30. Mr. Mitchell, we have comprehensive documentation. Same protocol as before. Photos of arrival, departure, duration. Hotel staff confirms same room, same pattern. Report will be ready by morning. Thank you. Mr. Mitchell, she pauses. Are you doing okay? I know this is a lot. I'm fine. You don't have to be fine. This situation, what they're doing, it's cruel. And documenting it, watching it continue, that takes a toll. I just want to make sure you're taking care of yourself. The concern in her voice almost breaks me. This stranger, this professional who's seen hundreds of cases like mine, cares more about my well-being than my wife does. I appreciate that, I say. Really, but I'm okay. I just need to see this through. All right, but if you need anything, someone to talk to, resources, whatever, you call me. This is about more than just documentation, okay? Okay. Sarah comes home at 5:45, glowing with post-yoga energy that I now recognize as something else entirely. She showered again, always showered, washing away evidence, eliminating traces. How was class? I ask. Great. Really worked up a sweat today. She heads to the kitchen, starts pulling ingredients for dinner. How was your call? Fine. Boring. Quarterly projections. Fun. She's chopping vegetables, her back to me. Jennifer says hi. We're thinking about taking a weekend trip next month. Maybe wine country? Jennifer. Her convenient cover story for literally everything. I wonder if Jennifer has any idea how often her name is invoked, if she knows she's an unwitting accomplice. Sounds nice, I say. You should go. You don't mind? Why would I mind? You deserve time with your friends. She turns, smiles at me. You're the best. I'm lucky. Lucky. That's one word for it. We eat dinner, watch TV, go through the motions of a normal Tuesday evening. Sarah curls up next to me on the couch, and I put my arm around her, and we look exactly like a happily married couple. We look like a lie. At 10, my phone buzzes. Email from Janet with Tuesday's report attached. I excuse myself to the bathroom, lock the door, open the attachment. It's all there. 42 photos, timestamps, documented pattern confirmation. Sarah arriving in the blue dress, the one I bought her. Marcus arriving 20 minutes later in jeans and a t-shirt. Both entering, both leaving. Same as always, same as before. But there's one photo that's new. It's a close-up, shot through the hotel room window before they closed the curtains. Just a moment captured. Marcus and Sarah, standing close, his hand on her face, her smiling up at him. Intimate, tender, real. I've seen the evidence of their affair documented in messages and credit card charges and surveillance photos. But this image somehow makes it more real, more painful, because they look happy. They look like people in love. And maybe they are. Maybe what they have is genuine, even if it's built on lies. Maybe they actually care about each other, have feelings that go beyond just physical attraction, which somehow makes it worse. I close the email, delete it from my phone. I have backups on the laptop, don't need it on my phone where Sarah might see. Look at myself in the bathroom mirror. I look tired, haunted, like someone who's been fighting a war no one else can see. Robert was right. This is consuming me, eating me alive from the inside out. Every day I continue this. Every piece of evidence I gather, every surveillance report I read, it's like drinking poison and hoping the other person dies. I need to end this, soon. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon, before it destroys what's left of me. I go back to the couch, and Sarah immediately curls back into me like we're magnetized. "You okay?" she asks. "You were in there a while." "Yeah, just thinking." "About what?" "About how you spent this afternoon with my brother. About the photo of him touching your face. About how you look happy with him, in a way I haven't seen you look with me in months." "Just stuff," I say. "Work things." She accepts this, turns her attention back to the TV, some reality show about people renovating houses. We watch strangers tear down walls and rebuild spaces and create something new from something broken. If only it were that easy with marriages. That night, lying in bed next to my sleeping wife, I make a decision. One more week. I'll give myself one more week to finalize everything, get the rest of the financial protections in place, meet with David Reeves again, make sure every piece is positioned perfectly. Then, next weekend, Saturday, October 19th, I'll end this. Not with a public confrontation, not with a dramatic restaurant scene, but methodically, strategically. I'll sit them both down, show them the evidence, let them see exactly what they are. And then I'll walk away from the wreckage of my marriage and my brotherhood with my dignity intact. One more week. I can survive one more week. I close my eyes and try to sleep, but all I can see is that photo, Marcus's hand on Sarah's face, her smile, the tenderness of it. 7 days, I tell myself. 7 more days of performing, of pretending, of living in this liminal space between knowing and acting. 7 more days until everything changes, until I make them face what they've done, until I burn it all down. Wednesday morning, I wake up with clarity. 7 days. 7 days to prepare for the ending I'm orchestrating. 7 days to transform from victim to author of my own story. I make lists. I've always been a list person. Sarah used to tease me about it, about my need to organize chaos into bullet points and checkboxes. But now, my lists aren't about grocery shopping or home repairs. They're about dismantling a marriage and a brotherhood with surgical precision. Final preparations. Transfer remaining joint funds to separate account. David approved this. Compile final evidence package, organized chronologically. Write confrontation outline. What to say, what to show, when. Secure living arrangements, just in case. Inform necessary parties. Robert, maybe my mom. Change passwords. Separate digital lives. Prepare for emotional fallout, both theirs and mine. Sarah is in the shower when I start executing. First, the bank. I transfer 50% of our joint savings to the new account I opened last week. Exactly half, down to the penny. David said this was important. Not more than half, not less. Fair, defensible, legal. 47,382 50 moves from our money to my money with a few clicks. It feels like theft, even though it's not. Even though I'm the one who earned most of it, saved most of it, while Sarah was spending $127.50 twice a week on hotel rooms. Even though I have every legal and moral right to protect my assets, it still feels like I'm stealing from my own life. Next, the evidence package. I've been compiling it incrementally, but now I organize it formally. Create a physical folder, old school, the kind lawyers use, with tabs and labels and printouts. Digital is fine for backup, but for the confrontation, I want something tangible, something I can hand them and watch them page through. Tab 1, Financial Evidence. 43 hotel confirmations, printed and highlighted. Credit card statements, charges circled in red. Total cost calculation. 54th 820 over 7 months. Tab 2. Communication evidence. Call logs. Patterns highlighted. Selected text messages. The worst ones, the most damning. The messages from the night of my surgery, printed in 14-point font, so every word is impossible to miss. Tab 3. Surveillance evidence. Janet's reports, both of them, complete with photos. The image of them entering the hotel. The image through the window. His hand on her face. The image of Sarah leaving, smiling. Tab 4. Witness statements. Hotel staff confirmations. Housekeeper statement about the anniversary comment. Patricia the paramedic's written account of the phone call. Tab 5. Timeline complete chronology from February 14th to present. Every Tuesday and Thursday, documented pattern analysis showing consistency, premeditation. It takes me 3 hours to assemble. 3 hours of reliving every betrayal, every lie, every moment they thought they were safe. By the time I'm done, the folder is 2 inches thick, heavy with evidence, heavy with truth. I hold it in my hands and think, this is my marriage. This is 7 years of partnership reduced to documentation of its destruction. Every promise we made, every moment we shared, every future we planned, all of it undone by the weight of this folder. Sarah comes into the study around 11, sees me surrounded by papers. "Spring cleaning?" she asks, smiling. I look up at her, at my wife standing in the doorway of our study, making jokes about paperwork while having no idea she's looking at the instrument of her exposure. Something like that. Organizing some work stuff. "You've been in here all morning. Want to take a break? I'm making lunch." "In a bit." She lingers, and I realize she's trying to see what I'm working on, trying to catch a glimpse of the papers spread across my desk. There's an edge of nervousness to her curiosity. "Work stuff is boring," I say, casually gathering the papers, sliding them into the folder. "I'll be out in 10 minutes. She nods, but doesn't move immediately. "James, is everything okay?" "Why do you keep asking me that?" "I don't know. You've just been so focused on work lately, so intense about everything. I'm worried about you." "I'm fine. Just trying to catch up after being out for the surgery. You know how it is. You miss 2 weeks, and suddenly everything piles up." "I guess." She chews her lip, a nervous habit I've always found endearing. Now it just looks like guilt. "I love you. You know that, right?" "You keep saying that." "Because it's true." "Is it?" The question slips out before I can stop it. She blinks. "Of course it is. Why would you even ask that?" "No reason, just making sure we're on the same page about things." "We are. Of course we are." But there's uncertainty in her voice now, fear creeping in at the edges. "James, if something's wrong, nothing's wrong. I'll be out for lunch in 10 minutes, promise." After she leaves, I lock the folder in the filing cabinet. The same filing cabinet where we keep our important documents. Birth certificates, marriage license, mortgage papers, tax returns. All the paperwork of a shared life. Now it also contains the paperwork of that life's ending. Thursday, I meet with David Reeves again, bring him the completed evidence folder, watch him page through it with the detached professionalism of someone who's seen this story 100 times before. "This is comprehensive," he says finally. "Honestly, this is overkill. We could divorce on 1/10 of this evidence. It's not about the divorce. It's about making sure they can't deny it, can't minimize it, can't rewrite history." He looks at me over his reading glasses. "Mr. Mitchell, James, I need to ask you something. What do you want from the confrontation? Really?" "I want them to see what they are." "And then what? You hand them this folder, watch them absorb it, and then what? What's the end game?" I don't have an answer. Or I do, but it's not one I can articulate. I want them to hurt, want them to feel a fraction of what I've felt, want them to understand that actions have consequences and secrets don't stay secret forever. "I want my dignity," I say finally. "I want to walk away from this with my head up. I want everyone to know I'm not the fool. They are." Fair enough, but here's what I need you to understand. The moment you show them this evidence, you lose control of the narrative. They'll react, anger, denial, tears, whatever. And you can't predict how that goes. They might beg forgiveness, they might attack you, they might blame each other. Are you prepared for any of those scenarios? Yes. Are you? He leans forward. Because in my experience, people who've been caught doing something like this, especially something this calculated, this long-term, they don't just accept responsibility. They fight. They deflect. They try to make you the bad guy for invading their privacy, for spying on them. Let them try. I have evidence they can't explain away. Evidence doesn't stop people from trying. He closes the folder, slides it back across his desk. I'm not trying to talk you out of this. You have every right to confront them however you choose. I just want you to be ready for what comes after. The anger, the grief, the logistics of actually ending a marriage. This folder, he taps it. This is just the beginning. That night, Sarah has book club. Real book club this time. It's Thursday, but not a hotel Thursday. She'd explained the schedule once, something about rotating weeks, some meetings at Jennifer's, some at the bookstore. I'd nodded, pretended to care about the logistics of her cover story. I used the time to call my mother. Mom lives in Arizona now, moved there after Dad died 5 years ago. Said she needed sun and warmth and distance from memories. We talk every couple weeks, superficial conversations about weather and health and family gossip. This call is different. James, so good to hear from you. How are you feeling? Sarah said the surgery went well, but that you're still recovering. I'm fine, Mom. Actually, I need to tell you something. There's a pause. Mothers always know when something's wrong, some sixth sense honed by years of scraped knees and broken hearts. What is it? I tell her. Not everything. I spare her the details, the specific messages, the explicit evidence. But the core truth. Sarah and Marcus have been having an affair. 7 months. I found out. I'm ending my marriage. The silence on the other end stretches so long I think the call dropped. Mom, I'm here. I'm just processing. Another long pause. Marcus, your brother Marcus? Yes. And you're sure? James, are you absolutely certain? Because this is nuclear. This destroys everything. If you're wrong, I'm not wrong. I have evidence, surveillance, messages, hotel records. I'm not wrong, Mom. I hear her crying quietly. Oh, baby. Oh, James. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. He's my son. They're both my children. How could he do this to you? How could either of them? I don't know, but they did, and now I have to deal with it. When will you? Saturday. I'm confronting them Saturday. Do you want me to come? I can get a flight tomorrow, be there by... No, I need to do this alone. But I wanted you to know, before it happens, before it becomes family drama that everyone's talking about. What do you need from me? The question surprises me. What do I need? Support, I guess. Validation. Someone on my side when the inevitable choosing of sides begins. Just don't let them make me the bad guy. When this comes out, when people start taking sides, don't let them rewrite this as somehow being my fault. Never, baby, never. What they did, there's no excuse, no justification. I love Marcus. He's my son, but what he did is unforgivable. They both... She breaks off, crying harder now. I'm so sorry this is happening to you. We talk for another hour. She tells me about Dad, about how he would have handled this, about family and loyalty and the way betrayal cuts deeper when it comes from inside your own circle. She asks if I'm eating, sleeping, taking care of myself. Asks if I need money, support, anything. I tell her I'm fine. Tell her I have a plan. Tell her that after Saturday, I'll call her and let her know how it went. After we hang up, I sit in the quiet of the study and realize I've told my mother I'm divorcing my wife. This is real now, not just evidence and planning and hypotheticals. Real. Friday passes in a fog. Sarah is unusually clingy, sits close to me on the couch, finds excuses to touch me, asks multiple times if I'm okay. If we're okay, if there's anything she should know. The guilt is eating at her. Or the fear. Maybe both. Why do you keep asking if there's something I should know? I finally say, around 9 p.m., when she's asked for the fourth time. I don't know. You've just been so distant, like you're pulling away from me, from us. Maybe I'm just tired. Recovery is exhausting. It's been almost a month since your surgery. These things take time. She studies my face like she's trying to read something written in a language she doesn't quite speak. James, if I've done something wrong, if there's something you're upset about, I need you to tell me. I can't fix it if I don't know what it is. The irony of this statement is almost funny. She wants me to tell her what's wrong so she can fix it, when what's wrong is her sleeping with my brother for 7 months. What's wrong is unfixable. We're fine, I lie. I promise. Just stressed about work and recovery and everything. But we're good. We're fine. She doesn't look convinced, but she nods. Curls into me on the couch. Tries to initiate sex later, which I deflect by claiming I'm still too sore from the surgery. This is becoming a useful excuse. Covers a multitude of situations where I just can't pretend that level of intimacy anymore. She falls asleep around 11. I lie awake next to her, thinking about tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll see Marcus. He's supposed to come over in the afternoon to help me with some yard work, clearing gutters before winter, something we'd planned weeks ago before I knew what I now know. I'd thought about canceling, but then decided, no, let him come. Let him perform the role of helpful brother one more time before I expose him for what he really is. One more performance before the curtain falls. Saturday morning arrives gray and cold, the kind of October day that threatens rain but never quite delivers. I wake up before Sarah, slip out of bed, start coffee. Marcus is due at 2. That gives me 5 hours to prepare mentally, emotionally, practically. Sarah sleeps until 9, comes downstairs looking soft and vulnerable in her pajamas. Morning, she murmurs, wrapping her arms around me from behind while I'm scrambling eggs. What's the plan for today? Marcus is coming over to help with the gutters, remember? I feel her stiffen slightly. Oh, right. I forgot. You don't have to be here if you don't want to be. I know watching us do yard work is boring. No, I'll stay. I can make lunch or something. Be useful. But there's a note of panic in her voice, barely detectable. The thought of being in close proximity to both of us, maintaining the performance, keeping all her lies straight, it's stressing her. Good. We eat breakfast in silence. Sarah keeps glancing at me, then at her phone, then back at me. Finally, she says, I might run to the store. We're out of milk. We have milk. Right. Paper towels then? Full pack under the sink. Just errands. I need to run errands. She's up, moving toward the bedroom to get dressed, and I can see the barely controlled panic in her movements. She's going to warn Marcus, going to text him or call him, tell him something's off, that I'm acting weird, that she's scared. Let her warn him. It won't matter. After she leaves, errands that will probably consist of sitting in a parking lot texting my brother. I go to the study and retrieve the folder. 2 inches thick, heavy with truth. I set it on the coffee table in the living room. Not hidden, just there, waiting. Then I sit down and I wait too, for Sarah to come back, for Marcus to arrive, for the moment when I hand them this folder and watch their world shatter, for the beginning of the end. My phone buzzes, text from Marcus. Still good for 2? Me. Yes, actually, can you come a little earlier? Say 1? Marcus. Sure. Everything okay? Me. Yeah, just want to get an early start. Sarah will be here too. We can all catch up. Long pause. Then, Okay, see you at 1. I imagine him showing that text to Sarah. Imagine them trying to decode it, figure out if it's a trap, whether they should be worried. Imagine them in whatever parking lot she's sitting in, phones between them, analyzing every word like it's a coded message. It is a coded message. The code is, I know everything, and in 2 hours, you're going to know that I know. Sarah comes home at noon carrying shopping bags from stores I'm certain she didn't actually visit. Got some stuff for lunch, she says brightly, too brightly. Thought we could do sandwiches when Marcus gets here? Perfect. He's coming at 2, right? Changed it to 1. Hope that's okay. She goes very still. 1. That's in an hour. Thought we'd get an early start. That okay? Yeah, of course. Fine. That's fine. But her hands are shaking as she unpacks the bags and she drops a tomato, watches it roll across the kitchen floor. I pick it up, hand it to her. Our fingers touch and she flinches. You okay? I ask. Fine. Just clumsy today. At 12:55, she disappears into the bathroom. I hear her on the phone, voice low and urgent. Can't make out the words, but I don't need to. She's giving Marcus a final warning, telling him something's wrong, be careful. She doesn't know what, but something's off. At 12:58, I hear Marcus's truck in the driveway. My heart is pounding. This is it. This is the moment I've been building toward for days, weeks, since that first call log, that first piece of evidence. The doorbell rings. Sarah emerges from the bathroom, face pale, eyes wide. I'll get it, I say. I open the door, and there's my brother, wearing old jeans and a flannel shirt, ready for yard work. He looks nervous, guilty, scared. Hey man, he says. Come in, I say. We need to talk. He sees the folder on the coffee table, sees Sarah standing frozen in the kitchen doorway, sees the careful staging of this moment. James, he starts. Sit down, I say quietly. Both of you, sit down. They exchange a glance, then slowly they move to the couch, sit together but not touching, a careful distance between them. I pick up the folder, 2 inches thick, heavy with truth. I know, I say simply. I know everything. And now, you're going to see exactly what you are. I open the folder, and I begin. The folder hits the coffee table with a sound like a judge's gavel, final, decisive. Marcus and Sarah stare at it like it might explode. What is this? Sarah's voice is barely a whisper. This, I say, flipping open to the first tab, is 7 months of your affair, documented, verified, irrefutable. I watch the color drain from both their faces. Watch Marcus's hand move toward Sarah's, then stop. Watch Sarah's mouth open, close, open again with no sound emerging. James, Marcus starts. Don't. I hold up a hand. Don't speak. Not yet. First, you're going to look at what you've done. Really look at it. I pull out the hotel confirmations, slide them across the table. 43 visits to room 314 at the Riverside Inn, every Tuesday and Thursday for 7 months, charged to our joint credit card. I pause. Our room, Sarah? That's what you called it in your messages. Our room. Sarah makes a small sound, something between a gasp and a sob. How did you... Marcus begins. How did I find out? I laugh, and it sounds harsh even to my own ears. You answered Sarah's phone. The night of my surgery. When I was dying. You answered and made a joke about her hands being busy. You both laughed. The silence that follows is absolute. I pull out the next section, the messages. Here's what you texted each other that night. I read them aloud, my voice steady despite the rage coursing through me. They said it was serious. Said it could be his last night. And we laughed? Sarah is crying now, silent tears streaming down her face. Marcus looks like he might vomit. You promised to stop, I continue. September 26th. You said you'd end it. And 3 days later, Thursday, Thursday. I pull out the surveillance photos, the ones from this week, 2 days ago. Tuesday. You were there Tuesday, while I was at home, recovering from the surgery I almost died from. You were in room 314. Again. I spread the photos across the table. Sarah arriving, Marcus arriving, the window shot of his hand on her face, her smile. $54,825, I say quietly. That's what your affair cost, just in hotel fees. That's what my trust was worth to you. Marcus is shaking his head, tears on his face now too. I'm sorry. God, James, I'm so sorry. Don't. My voice cracks. Don't you dare apologize. Not yet. Not until you understand what you've done. I look at them both, my wife, my brother, and I see strangers. Strangers who destroyed everything while smiling to my face. Now, I say, now you're going to tell me why. Why? Sarah's voice breaks. You want to know why? I deserve that much. She looks at Marcus, then back at me. Because I was lonely. Because you were always working, always busy, always... Don't. I cut her off. Don't make this about me. Don't make your choices my fault. Marcus clears his throat. It started at Valentine's. You were at work. Sarah called, upset about something. I came over. We talked. We drank wine. And then you kept doing it. For 7 months. Every Tuesday. Every Thursday. While I worked to pay for the house, the renovations, the life you wanted. I look at Sarah. While I planned our anniversary trip to Italy, while I trusted you. I did love you, Sarah whispers. I do love you. You loved me so much you fucked my brother twice a week for 7 months. She flinches like I've struck her. What happens now? Marcus asks quietly. I pull out the final document. Divorce papers, already filled out, needing only signatures. Now I'm done. Done with both of you. Done with the lies, the betrayal, the performance. I slide the papers to Sarah. You have a week to find somewhere else to live. I'm keeping the house. My lawyer assures me that's more than fair, given the circumstances. James, please. Please what? Please forgive you? Please pretend this didn't happen? Please let you both back into my life so you can do it again? We'll end it, Marcus says desperately. We'll never see each other again. You'll do whatever you want. Just not near me. I stand. I want you both out of my house. Now. They don't move. Now. Sarah grabs her purse with shaking hands. Marcus stands, looks at me with something like pleading in his eyes. I'm your brother. No, I say quietly. You were my brother. Now, you're just someone who betrayed me. They leave. The door closes, and I stand in the living room of my house now, mine alone, surrounded by evidence of their betrayal and my survival. My phone rings. Robert. Did you do it? Yeah. How do you feel? I think about that. How do I feel? Angry, sad, relieved, free. Like I can finally breathe, I say. Good. That's good. What now? I look out the window. The sun is breaking through clouds. The garden Sarah planted is still blooming. Now I heal, I say. Now I build something new, something real, something mine. Need company? Not yet, but soon. I hang up and stand in the quiet. The house feels different already, lighter, like ghosts have been exorcised. On the coffee table, the folder sits open. Evidence, truth, justice. I close it. I don't need it anymore. I walk to the window and watch the afternoon light paint everything gold. Somewhere out there, Sarah and Marcus are processing what just happened. Somewhere my mother is waiting for my call. Somewhere life is continuing. And here, in this house, in this moment, I'm free. The scars will remain. The receipts of betrayal written on my heart. But scars are proof of survival, proof that you can be wounded and still stand. I survived the surgery, survived the betrayal, survived the truth, and now, finally, I can begin to live again. Not the life I planned, not the future I imagined, but my life, my future, my truth. And that I realize as the sun sets and the day ends and the first chapter of my new life begins. That is enough.